Chapter 117. The regional manager of Jiangqing arrived and the matter was resolved in less than 3 minutes. Wang Luyong was fired and handed over to the police for pursuing the crime of molesting a woman. Although he did not force Su Xiaowei to submit, such people had a criminal record. If they really investigated, he would not have a good ending. In addition, Su Xiaowei was promoted to the deputy sales manager of the Jiangqing branch of Zhongqing Corporation. She was assigned to Sunshine Real Estate and was responsible for the sales work here. What deputy manager? It was just a temporary position. Su Xiaowei would probably be promoted in the future. Sir, if you're free tonight, would you do me the honor of having dinner with me? The regional manager, Yi Ji, said respectfully. I didn't expect that we would cause you trouble again. Lu Qin smiled and said, forget about it this time. Maybe next time. Seeing that the owner did not intend to pursue the matter, Yi Ji let out a long sigh of relief. Fortunately, he arrived in time. Otherwise, the newly promoted regional manager would be gone. After sending Lu Qin off, Yi Ji let out a long sigh of relief. Lu Qin was about to take the bus home when Su Xiaowei chased after him. Blockhead. Lu Qin turned around and smiled at Su Xiaowei. This girl still remembered the nickname she gave him in the past. I'll give you a ride, if you don't mind my little electric stove. Su Xiaowei's smile reminded Lu Qin of the bright, lively, and beautiful girl from the past. Can you leave for work? The big manager asked me to give you a ride. Su Xiaowei winked at Lu Qin. Let's go. The streets were busy. Lu Qin sat behind Su Xiaowei's small scooter. Su Xiaowei's long hair occasionally brushed past his face. It was itchy. How's Teacher Su? My dad's health hasn't been very good these few years. What's wrong? Lu Qin asked. Teacher Su used to treat him so well. His heart ached when he heard the news. It's nothing. It's an old illness. Su Xiaowei said softly. She did not seem to want to talk about her father. Oh right, thank you for today. It's nothing. There's no need to thank me. Perhaps it was because they had been separated for too long, the two chatted casually. Until he sent Lu Qin to the outskirts of Happiness District. Alright, let's stop here. You should go back too. You've just been promoted, so you should set an example. Well, thank you anyway. It's just that I'm not used to the sudden promotion. After all, I didn't fight for it. Lu Qin smiled. Connections are also a form of strength. We didn't have them in the past, but now that we do, we should make good use of them. What's more, I believe that you're a capable person. Oh, by the way, fire the salesperson who likes to gossip. Just say that I said it. You don't have to be soft-hearted to such people. Okay, got it. Let's go back. After Lu Qin finished speaking, he turned around and prepared to leave. Lu Qin. Su Xiaowei suddenly called out to Lu Qin. Well, oh, right, do you play Jiutian? Lu Qin frowned slightly. Yes. Then let's play together when we have time, okay? Lu Qin smiled. Was this an invitation? When the time comes. By the way, I've left my phone number with you. Call me if you need anything. He had to admit that when he saw Su Xiaowei today, Lu Qin was still stunned. He didn't expect Su Xiaowei to be even prettier after a few years. However, the two of them were estranged after all, so their conversation was a little unnatural. Speaking of which, the house was finally bought. It cost 5.47 million, and after the discount, he only spent 3.83 million. This feeling was great. With a load off his mind, Lu Qin was in a good mood and logged into the game. After going out for an entire morning, the 10 Beast spiritual energy increased by 600 to 700 points, 100,000 points of pure spiritual energy. I wonder how long it will take to raise them. Lu Qin shook his head. Everyone wanted a mythical beast, but who knew how hard it was to raise a mythical beast? He even raised 10 of them in one go. 3 idiots, stop cultivating. We'll run to a new map today. Lu Chen ordered and recalled his subordinates and beasts. After selling all the equipment in the Tiger King's cave yesterday, Wuxia's team was exploring the Tiger King's cave today. He believed that it wouldn't be long before they started farming again. They might even farm a second boss. I haven't leveled up for a few days. I still have to level up. Lu Chen headed straight for the mass graves this time. I'll also look for those soul essences, ancient hearts, and so on. He was now level 17, and the attributes of the army members had also increased by a lot. There was no pressure in farming the mass graves anymore. Dead without a complete corpse, unable to sleep after returning to a foreign land. After taking a look at the stone tablet, Lu Chen entered the mass graves directly. There was one advantage to the mass graves. There was no need to look for monsters. The monsters would come to them. After Lu Chen and the 3 idiots entered the mass graves, 30 to 40 mounds of dirt protruded from the ground around them. Then, headless flying corpses flew out. The headless flying corpses were also long-range attacks and had a catapult effect. When the 2 armies met, the scene was extremely exciting. Countless heads bounced back and forth between the group of people, making it impossible to distinguish whose heads belonged to whom. Fuck, catapult is so annoying. They're also long-range attacks. Forget it, let's farm 1,000 first. 2.5 hours later, Lu Chen finally farmed 1,000 headless flying corpses. In the reputation shop, the bloodline of the headless flying corpse, undead bloodline, and the skin of the headless flying corpse appeared. Fuck, should I change my attack method? Lu Chen was a little conflicted. This thing was really ugly, but its attack method was really enviable. If Lu Chen used catapult and combo, he would be able to farm the monsters like flying. However, when he thought about how he had thrown his own head out time and time again, Lu Chen felt terrified. After hesitating for a long time, Lu Chen decided to go and see if there were any other monsters. If there were better AoE monsters, he would definitely not choose the headless flying corpse. As he farmed, he walked forward. Not long after, Lu Chen saw a huge stone door appear in the distance. This stone door was quite strange. In the empty graveyard, there was only one door standing there. It was about 10 meters tall and 5 to 6 meters wide. It gave people the feeling that it was more like a tombstone than a stone door. Why is there a player there? Lu Chen had extraordinary eyesight and quickly found a little girl sitting in the corner of the stone door. A player could walk here from the mass grave. And it was a little girl. Lu Chen decided to take a look. He put away the 8-headed 3 dumb and walked over. The little girl sat in the corner of the stone door with her head lowered. Her face could not be seen clearly. When Lu Chen walked in front of her, she suddenly opened her mouth. The moment she opened her mouth, Lu Chen was shocked. "I'm so pitiful," the girl said as she raised her head. That was definitely not the face of a little girl. More accurately, it was not even a human face. The skin was shriveled and dark, the eye sockets were sunken, and the mouth was full of wrinkles. It was a little girl's mummy. Fuck, Tianqing really wants to die. He made an NPC out of nowhere and made it look so real. It's so scary. Lu Chen took a few steps back. "I beg you, please save me." The girl's mummy looked at Lu Chen with her empty eye sockets, and Lu Chen felt goosebumps all over his body. However, Lu Chen still tried to make himself understand that this was just a game. Lu Chen was still far away. "Do you have a quest? Can I take it?" "I do have a quest, but my quest can only be completed by myself." A quest appeared in front of Lu Chen. Quest, Cleansing Nightmare Spirits, Level 22 Elite Quest. Lu Chen did not look at the quest, but the reward at the end of the quest stunned Lu Chen. Quest Reward, Primordial Heart *1, First Clear Reward, Dungeon Source, Solo, player can create a solo dungeon. Chapter 118. I finally found the Primordial Heart. Lu Chen had been stuck on the Primordial Heart and Primordial Fragment for a long time. But this instance dungeon source is quite interesting. Can players design their own instance dungeons? Lu Chen looked at the instance dungeon source's introduction curiously. That seemed to be what it meant. Zhoutian is indeed different from other games. It actually allows players to build their own instance dungeons. Interesting. However, there was an additional requirement for the instance dungeon source's reward. It had to be the first clear of the entire server. Just now, the NPC said that only I can enter the instance dungeon. Does it know that I have an army to help me? I'll go in and take a look. Since the Primordial Heart had appeared, Lu Chen had no reason not to go in and try. Mission: Clear the Nightmare Spirits. Mission description: when people die, they become ghosts, and when ghosts die, they become nightmare spirits. We were originally pitiful people who were buried here. If no one attacked us, we would not attack anyone. That was until the nightmare spirit appeared. Every day, it preys on our souls to nourish that terrifying fellow. If that fellow revives, you and I will be reduced to ashes. Mission details: please help the remnant soul Xiao Min to clear a sufficient number of nightmare spirits. Clear 500 nightmare spirits behind this door. Nourish that terrifying fellow. Seeing this, with Lu Chen's sharp observation, he seemed to have smelled the scent of a follow-up mission. No matter what, for the sake of the mission reward, he had to accept it. After accepting the mission, Lu Chen stepped through the stone door. On the other side of the stone door was not the instance dungeon but another map. As soon as he entered the stone door, Lu Chen felt that it was gloomy. Everywhere was dark, and a cold wind blew past from time to time. Not far away, two transparent souls were floating. That should be the nightmare spirit, right? They're both level 22 elites. Zhoutian's elite missions are indeed overpowered. Lu Chen pulled out Tiger Weep and walked over. When the light saw someone approaching, it quickly floated over. I should really give Zhoutian advice. Can they not be so serious about such things? Lu Chen swung his sword. Immune, immune, immune. 6 immune, all of Lu Chen's combo and poison were immune. Fuck. What the hell? At the same time, the two nightmare spirits pounced on Lu Chen. -883, spiritual attack, -883, spiritual attack. The two nightmare spirits dealt close to 1,800 damage. Lu Chen's HP immediately fell by a large chunk. Damn, these guys are all spiritual attackers. Lu Chen's current equipment was the strongest at the moment. It had a massive amount of physical defense, but it was completely useless against spiritual attacks. To the Bai Lin, only the Tiger King's 3 pieces of equipment with a measly 24 points of spiritual defense was effective. Since the Bai Lin's spiritual attack had reached 800 to 900 points, the 24 points of spiritual defense were almost negligible. It was as if Lu Chen had taken all the damage. Most importantly, these guys were immune to physical and poison attacks. Lu Chen couldn't hit them. Motherfucker, what the hell is this? Fierce tiger descends the mountain. Tiger's roar. Lu Chen hurriedly activated Tiger Weep special effect, converting all physical attacks into spiritual attacks. -545, immune, poisoned, -1008, critical hit, immune, poisoned, -1041, critical hit, -521. All of the poison attacks were still immune, but after Lu Chen's physical attacks were converted into spiritual attacks, all of them dealt damage. The Nightmare Spirit's attack was very high, but its HP was very low. The level 22 elite Nightmare Spirit only had 4,000 HP. After being hit by Lu Chen's 4-hit combo, it only had less than a quarter of its HP left. Lu Chen's 3 attacks finally killed the 2 Nightmare Spirits. Killed Nightmare Spirit, level 22 elite. Captured 1,570 aura points. Obtained 1 tier 5 talent fragment. Obtained 1 5-star quality point. Obtained 1 chaos type creature's soul essence. Extracted 1 pure aura points. Killed Nightmare Spirit, level 22 elite. Captured 1,570 aura points. Obtained 1 tier 5 talent fragment. Obtained 1 chaos type creature's soul essence. Extracted 1 pure aura points. Chaos type creature's soul essence. Lu Chen suddenly remembered that this was what chaos needed to grow. Ha ha ha, I finally found it. So it's to fight these things. Oh right, the drop rate of pure aura here is so high. I only killed 2 and 2 dropped. I don't know if it's because of good luck or because the drop rate is high to begin with. Lu Chen activated the quest tracking function. At this time, the quest completion progress was 2/500, proving that he did not fight the wrong monster. After killing the 2 Nightmare Spirits, Lu Chen was quite excited. The 2 things he was looking for could be obtained from this dungeon. However, there was also a problem. These things only eat spiritual attacks, and I have to use Tiger's Roar to convert physical attacks into spiritual attacks. In other words, I can only effectively supply it 3 times every 60 seconds. The efficiency is too low. The 3 idiots could not help him at this time. They were all physical attacks, so they were immune to attacks. Moreover, the quest said that it had to be completed by a single person. The easiest way to determine if it was completed by a single person was to look at the source of the damage. If it was not done by a single person, then killing it might be a waste of effort. There's no other way. I can only kill them by force. It's best to use Fierce Tiger Descends the Mountain together with Tiger's Roar to ensure that I can kill 2 at the same time. That's 2 minutes to kill 2. It will take 500 minutes to complete the quest. Plus looking for monsters, it might take 10 hours. There was no shortcut, so Lu Chen could only kill them by force. These Nightmare Spirits were in groups of 2. Lu Chen took advantage of the cooldown period of the special effect to find the monsters first. When the cooldown period of Fierce Tiger Descends the Mountain was over, he would immediately kill them. After killing a few groups, Lu Chen was certain that these Nightmare Spirits would drop chaotic creature soul essences and pure aura. 2 minutes and 2 points of pure aura. I'll just treat it as cultivating my spiritual power. Besides, there's also experience and materials. It's not a loss. This farming lasted until 10 o'clock in the evening. Lu Chen finally completed the quest. Running to the gate, Lu Chen submitted the quest. Obtained Ancient Heart *1, obtained Dungeon Source *1, Lu Chen immediately checked the Ancient Heart. Passed down from an ancient creature's heart fossil. It's a treasure that can turn something rotten into something magical. Lu Chen hurriedly opened the attribute panel. The Ancient Heart was already available for the upgrade materials after the star level. As for the 5-star materials, Lu Chen had already obtained enough in the Misty Forest and the Tiger King's cave. Damn, I can finally upgrade. Upgrade star level. Your skin can't withstand the upgrade energy. Please remove your human skin. Oh. Lu Chen removed his human skin. A terrifying creature quietly swelled from behind the human skin and revealed its original appearance. Damn, it makes me look like a painted ghost. Speaking of which, Lu Chen had previously integrated the Tiger Demon bloodline, and the results were now displayed. Simply put, it was a change of head. Tiger head, wooden horns, the upper body of a jackalen, the lower body of a spider, and a green snake tail. Lu Chen shook his head helplessly. He was still afraid when he saw the Nightmare Spirits. In this game, was there any creature more terrifying than them? The little female ghost NPC at the side was scared to tears. Chapter 119. When he left the Tiger King's cave, Lu Chen was almost level 17. Now that he had killed 1,000 headless flying corpses and 500 nightmare spirits, he was already level 18. Role-bound, Lu Chen, character, Brave Tiger and Dragon Might, Dark Moon Vanguard, Top Dog, Tiger Capturer, Elite, Extremely Strong, Extremely Agile, Extremely Muscular No Leader, Bronze Boss, Black Barton. Damn. It's almost 5 meters long. Lu Chen looked at the name above his head that was longer than his body and fell into deep thought. Rarity, 5-star, Stage 1 increase in 3 dimensions by 500%, 0/320, 5-star quality, 0 to 1, Primordial Heart, level, 18, upgrade progress, 107760/550000, physical strength, 426, basic 204 plus equipment 181 plus title 41, agility, 424, basic 204 plus equipment 220, physique, 421, basic 204 plus equipment 197 plus title 20, spiritual power intensity, spiritual power, 10, spiritual core 10, 224/1000, pure spiritual energy, attack, physical attack, 557 to 573 poison attack, 10 defense, physical defense. 325, basic 102 plus equipment 223 plus title 20, spiritual defense, 24 health points, 10796, basic 5380 plus equipment 3940 plus title 1476, after increasing his health points, Lu Chen's initial poison damage had reached 334. Other than the basic attributes, Lu Chen now had the inferior werewolf bloodline, inferior venomous spider bloodline, inferior snake bloodline, inferior succubus bloodline, and inferior tiger bloodline. All 5 bloodlines were stage 4. The army recruitment order was now upgraded to first transition solo. I'm almost moved to tears by my own diligence. Lu Chen touched his conscience with his claws. Right, there's also the instance dungeon source. Let's see what it is. Lu Chen immediately opened his backpack to check. The instance dungeon source's appearance was a ball of black fog. The fog was like a dancing flame as if it was alive. Instance dungeon source, gather 5 to create a solo instance dungeon. Damn. Gather 5 to create one. Why didn't you say this before? What a scam. Lu Chen said angrily. But then again, this item was considered a bonus. Even without this reward, Lu Chen would definitely accept this mission for the sake of the ancient blood. Forget it, forget it. Let's see if there are any follow-up quests. Lu Chen turned around. The little ghost girl was still crying. Hey, little friend, don't cry. It's scary. Lu Chen looked down at the little ghost girl. When she cried, there were no tears. The most important thing was that the sound of a ghost crying made his hair stand on end. The NPC raised his head and looked at Lu Chen, crying even more sadly. Lu Chen was also speechless. Was he that scary? It seemed like Zhutian's quests were different from other games. It wasn't as simple as tapping on the screen. Oh right, the quest seemed to say that her name was Xiao Min. Xiao Min, I've already helped you get rid of the nightmare spirit. Why are you still crying? Lu Chen patiently guided her. Thank you, benefactor. Xiao Min raised her head, feeling wronged. But our crisis hasn't been completely resolved. I know I shouldn't ask for more, but I really have no other choice. Lu Chen hurriedly waved his hand. No, don't say that. Don't worry about my life or death. If you have any other requests, just say them. What a joke. If I don't ask for more, how can there be a follow-up quest? Benefactor, you're too kind. Xiao Min looked at Lu Chen gratefully with her hollow eyes. Then can you help me kill another 3,000 nightmare spirits? Lu Chen almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Did he kill the nightmare spirit again? Another 3,000. Those things were very difficult to kill. Wasn't it better to kill something else? With Lu Chen's experience, this should be the middle part of the follow-up quest. It wasn't the final quest yet. However, with his current attack methods, killing 3,000 nightmare spirits might take a week. At this moment, the quest appeared. Quest: completely eliminate nightmare spirits. Quest details: the crisis in the mass grave hasn't been resolved yet. Xiao Min requests you to help her kill 3,000 nightmare spirits. Quest reward: Ancient Fragment *2, Dungeon Source *1. As soon as he saw the mission reward, Lu Chen immediately swallowed his complaints. Ancient Fragment was a necessary tool to improve one's talent. Lu Chen now had a lot of talent fragments. Now, the quest directly gave him 2 of them. In other words, he could upgrade 2 talents. Accept. Damn, Xiao Min, you're too ruthless. After opening the quest tracking, Lu Chen looked at the data of 0/3000 and fell into silence. Previously, he could barely accept using that stupid method to kill 500, but now he actually had to kill 3,000. Although it was good to keep killing nightmare spirits, the experience was quite high. Materials, pure aura, and chaotic creature's soul were all dropped in large quantities. However, the most important point was that these things didn't drop equipment. Without equipment, he couldn't earn money. This was a loss. In a week's time, other players' levels had increased. Although Lu Chen could evolve, his equipment might fall behind. If he fell behind by 1 step, he would always fall behind. He didn't know what else to do after this quest. In short, Lu Chen had better complete it as soon as possible. And to complete this quest as soon as possible, there seemed to be only one shortcut. Lu Chen reluctantly opened the reputation store. Looking at the ugly and horrifying skin, Lu Chen gritted his teeth and bought it. Fuse with the headless flying corpse bloodline. Talent: Undead Bloodline, rank 1, reduced the physical defense of surrounding enemies by 8%. The Undead Bloodline was directly rank 1. It seemed that monsters above level 20 would have a stronger talent. Of course, this talent was useless to Lu Chen. This was a Halo-type talent. With 8 heads, he didn't need to learn it himself. Since I've learned it, I'll level it up to rank 4. Talent: Undead Bloodline, rank 4, reduced the physical defense of surrounding enemies by 15%. Actually, this talent was quite strong, especially when fighting a boss. A 15% reduction in physical defense was quite a lot. After the bloodline fusion, Lu Chen's body underwent a new change. Simple and crude, his tiger head fell off. Damn, I knew it. Lu Chen's head floated in the air, his face filled with despair. The bloodline fusion was not enough. He had to completely possess the headless flying corpse's attack style and change his skin. Change the headless flying corpse's skin. Lu Chen's huge body suddenly shrunk and finally turned into a human's body. His body was different from other headless flying corpses. At least his equipment was still there. Of course, the equipment was still on his body, but his head was gone. Lu Chen hugged his head with both hands. This feeling was too strange. Xiao Min, if your next quest is to kill Bai Lin again, I won't accept it even if you beat me to death. Lu Chen tossed his head and suddenly realized that his head could fly. No wonder I couldn't see 8-headed flying corpse's head. It can be played like this. It's quite fun. Chapter 120. This quest would definitely take a long time, so Lu Chen decided to spend some time to send Batu and the others back to the camp so that they could cultivate their spiritual power. Once again returning to the stone door, Lu Chen watched as his body floated through the stone door. Damn, that's scary. After entering the stone door, Lu Chen found that the nightmare specters he had fought before had respawned again. Blurry, translucent balls of light were floating back and forth. Ba-2's ejection can eject 5 targets, including the first target, so I can attack 6 targets at the same time. The nightmare specters here were usually in groups of 2. Lu Chen pulled 3 groups of monsters, so there were exactly 6 of them. Taking a deep breath, Lu Chen began to pull the monsters. Come on. Fire. Lu Chen's gaze was fixed on the 2 nightmare specters in front of him. Then, his entire head shot out. When attacking, Lu Chen held 2 swords in each hand. Although he wasn't attacking with his hands, the system added the attributes of the weapons to the quest's attributes by default. Fortunately, Lu Chen didn't have to bite Tiger Weep to attack. During the attack, Lu Chen's flying speed suddenly increased, greatly surpassing his own flying speed. Oh my, that's fast. Lu Chen had just experienced the feeling of flying for a moment when his vision suddenly froze. This feeling was a bit like an out-of-body experience. He could clearly see his own head smashing towards the nightmare specters, and his consciousness was no longer using his character's head as a medium. It existed out of thin air. That works. Could Ba-2 and the others be like this too? Lu Chen thought about it and felt that it was very likely. When Ba-2 attacked, he could actually still see the situation around him. Otherwise, they couldn't rely on their heads to determine how to pull and choose targets. Their skulls were only offensive tools when they attacked. Only when they were not in a combat state would their skulls have expressions and their eyes look around. Looks like there are different states. In a non-combat state, my consciousness can return to my head. In a combat state, I'm in this ghost state, that's true. After all, she's a ghost. It's normal for her soul to have an out-of-body experience. Whether it was a human or a ghost, it had no effect on Lu Chen. In his current state, his vision was clearer. Bang, Lu Chen's head bumped into a nightmare spirit. Immune, it was reasonable that he couldn't deal any damage. Lu Chen's current goal was to pull the 3 groups of nightmare spirits together and then use magic attacks to clean them up. After hitting the first nightmare spirit, Lu Chen's head was fiercely bounced away and hit the next one. After a round of attacks, Lu Chen thought it was over. However, after flicking the second nightmare spirit, his head once again flicked towards the first monster. Fuck, I forgot about the combo. Seeing his head being bounced back and forth, Lu Chen felt pain. A combo wasn't as simple as attacking twice in a row. The essence of a combo was its speed. In fact, it divided an attack into 2 parts. Within the time it took to attack, 2 parts of damage would be dealt. This also caused Lu Chen's head to bounce back and forth very quickly. Bang 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 bang, in the blink of an eye, it had bounced back and forth between 2 monsters. After one attack, Lu Chen immediately went to pull the second group of nightmare spirits. When pulling monsters, Lu Chen's physical attacks couldn't deal any damage. However, this didn't affect him from pulling the aggro of the nightmare spirits. Not long after, 6 nightmare spirits were already following behind Lu Chen. When he finally pulled all the monsters, Lu Chen roared, "Fierce tiger descends the mountain." Tiger's roar. There were now 6 monsters here. The bouncing effect was at 100%. In addition, Fierce Tiger Descends the Mountain had a combo effect. As a result, the flying speed of the head suddenly increased. Lu Chen's head crazily collided with the nightmare spirits. He couldn't even see clearly. One attack had dealt 24 damage. This didn't include the 48 poison attacks that he was immune to. In other words, if he didn't attack the nightmare spirits and used Fierce Tiger Descends the Mountain at the same time, he could deal 72 damage in one complete attack. Of course, this also meant that Lu Chen's head bounced 23 times in less than 2 seconds. With just one attack, the first few nightmare spirits that were hit had already lost 3/4 of their HP. The one with the most HP had less than half of its HP left. After launching the second attack, Lu Chen's system had already refreshed the screen. Killed Nightmare Spirit, level 22 elite. Captured 1570 aura points. Obtained rank 5 talent fragment 1. Obtained 5-star quality point. Obtained chaotic creature's soul essence 1. Extracted pure aura 1. Killed Nightmare Spirit, level 22 elite. Captured 1570 aura points. Obtained rank 5 talent fragment 1. Obtained 5-star quality point. Obtained chaotic creature's soul essence 1. Extracted pure aura 1. Damn, I can kill them in 2 attacks. If there are fish that slip through the net, the 3rd attack will definitely kill them. Lu Chen said in surprise. Pull the monsters from a distance. I won't be hit. This plan was definitely feasible. Now my farming speed is 3 times faster than before. I can complete this mission in 20 hours. Ha ha ha. After farming for 2 to 3 hours in the world behind the stone door, Lu Chen went offline on time. He had to sleep early today and could not stay up all night. The next morning, Lu Chen ate breakfast, went grocery shopping, and exercised as usual. Especially exercising. The body was the capital of a revolution. In order to earn more money, his body must not collapse. However, it was strange. In the past, when he worked outside, he did a lot of dirty and tiring work. It was understandable that his body was in good health. However, ever since he started playing Jiutian, he sat at home for a few hours. Especially in the past few days, he did not sleep well or eat on time. However, whether it was his energy or physical strength, he did not deteriorate. Instead, he felt that his body was full of vitality. 148149150. Lu Chen came down from the horizontal bar and looked at his hands. I actually did 150 pull-ups. In the past, I could only do 120 to 130 pull-ups. Lu Chen did not know what was going on with his body. He played games every day, but it was better than before. However, it was not a bad thing. Lu Chen took the groceries home. When he got home, he looked at the live broadcast on the official website. There were a few major changes in the country server. Firstly, there was a huge influx of players into the Tiger King's cave. With the help of the huge amount of experience points in the Tiger King's cave, the level of the players in the country server was much faster than before. Now, many of the top players were already at level 16. In addition, with the development of the Tiger King's cave, there were more and more class materials. This also led to a huge increase in the number of players in the country who changed their class. The 9 major classes that Tianqing had promoted back then were finally being shown in the game. Winchim had already brought a Phantom Moon Silver Wolf baby, and it was a wild elite baby. The Celestial Mountain was no longer a group of players who looked the same. Monks, martial artists, apothecaries, talisman masters, spiritual masters, sword spirit cultivators, explosive specialists, prophets, and puppet masters all had obvious differences. The differentiation of the classes greatly increased the success rate of the players in the Tiger King's cave. The materials in the Tiger King's cave also allowed more players to change their class. Looking at the different types of players, Lu Chen had a feeling. The huge world view of the Jiutian had finally been unveiled. Chapter 121. The Jiutian was getting more and more interesting, but Lu Chen was not happy. He still had more than 2,000 nightmare spirits to kill. Although his current efficiency was much higher than before, 3,000 nightmare spirits was still a ridiculous number, and only Lu Chen could do it. He would need at least 3 days. What kind of mission is this? I need to kill 3,000 monsters, and they're all elite monsters. It was already the 3rd day, and Lu Chen had already killed more than 2,700 nightmare spirits. Fortunately, there were not many left. He could definitely finish them by the end of the day. It was worth mentioning that Lu Chen's spiritual power had reached 12. These monsters would definitely drop pure spiritual power. It feels like the world behind the door. Although it's not like a dungeon, the rewards are still much higher than the outside world. One nightmare spirit is 1500 EXP, and I'm already level 19. The materials also drop 5-star materials, but they don't drop equipment. A bunch of elite monsters don't drop equipment, and they still have the nerve to call themselves elite monsters. Lu Chen said indignantly. As they spoke, Lu Chen was getting deeper and deeper into the world behind the door. His surroundings were dark, and he had no idea where he was. Looking at the map, he was now very far away from the stone door. The area ahead is very bright. What's that? Lu Chen temporarily stopped killing monsters and approached carefully. The light came from a valley. Lu Chen avoided the patrolling nightmare spirits and snuck into the hillside. His body was completely hidden in the grass, and only his head flew up to a tree. Looking down from above, Lu Chen could clearly see the whole picture of the valley. The valley was not big. The hinterland of the valley was flat, and there was no vegetation. There was a strange light formation on the ground. It was a 6-star pattern, and there were complicated runes inside. The words and formation were all glowing. There were a large number of nightmare spirits patrolling the area, and there were a large number of headless flying corpses inside the formation. There were roughly 2,000 to 3,000 of them. Damn, Tianqing, do you have to be so serious? It's just a mission, and you're doing it like it's real. Xiao Min said that the nightmare spirits preyed on their souls, and it was actually happening here. At this time, Lu Chen did not dare to show his face. There were at least 1,000 nightmare spirits below, and he could not withstand their concentrated fire. This formation might be related to the later missions. Why did those nightmare spirits suddenly gather? Lu Chen's head hung on the tree, his brows tightly knitted. The 400 to 500 nightmare spirits stopped patrolling and gathered in one place. They lined up neatly in rows as if they were waiting for someone important. Considering that the situation here might be related to the follow-up mission, Lu Chen decided to take a look first. Not long after, a huge creature walked out from the other side of the valley. Normally, nightmare spirits were glowing balls of light. However, although this fellow was also glowing, it had a clear silhouette. Its silhouette was like a skeleton, and it held a huge sword in its hand. Its height was probably over 8 meters. Its avatar was the golden avatar of the boss, and its name was Red. Big Commander of Nightmare Vanguard, Cenobus, level 27, Lu Chen gulped. The follow-up mission would not require him to fight this thing, right? It would be fine if it was a normal boss, but nightmare spirits were too difficult to fight. Those small nightmare spirits could deal almost 900 HP to him, let alone this fellow. When Cenobus arrived, the headless flying corpses were very panicked. Cenobus did not care about the headless flying corpses' panic. It walked to the center of the formation, inserted its huge sword into the ground, and knelt down on one knee. Great God of the undead, please accept our sacrifice. Then, it pressed its palm on the formation's core. The entire formation was instantly swallowed by the light, and the strong light was so bright that it was almost impossible to see clearly. However, there was a burst of hoarse cries and howls all around. The figures of the headless flying corpses were constantly elongated and distorted in the strong light. Not only that, but even the nightmare spirits were swallowed by the light pillar. The balls of light merged with the formation's light pillar. Even its own people are being sacrificed. This boss is quite ruthless. In the entire formation, only Cenobus knelt down on one knee. Its figure was still unaffected. It had to be said that Tianqing was indeed Tianqing. Even the storyline of the mission was so shocking. Lu Chen had not completed this mission, but these NPCs were so dedicated to this show. It probably won't make me fight that fellow, right? Otherwise, I probably won't be able to do it. The valley in front of him was already illuminated by the light pillar. There was no good show to watch. Lu Chen watched for a while, then left the valley. The last 200+ nightmare spirits were easily defeated. Lu Chen completed it in 2 hours. After defeating the last nightmare spirit, Lu Chen was relieved. He immediately rushed back to find the little ghost girl. After submitting the mission, Lu Chen's long-awaited reward finally arrived. He threw the damned instance dungeon source into his backpack first. The key was the 2 ancient fragments. I can finally upgrade my talents. Which of the 2 ancient fragments should he upgrade first? Now, Lu Chen had 6 talents, all of which were stuck at stage 4. Inferior Werewolf Bloodline had critical hit, Inferior Poisonous Spider Bloodline had 5-second poison, Inferior Snake Bloodline had 7-step poison, Inferior Succubus Bloodline had Vision and Beginner Charm Resistance, Inferior Tiger Demon Bloodline had Combo Attack, and Undead Bloodline had Defense Reduction. If it's poison, I feel like the damage is enough, unless I encounter something like a nightmare spirit. Lu Chen considered carefully. This was definitely a difficult decision. Vision is enough, too. I don't need to upgrade it for now. Then it's critical hit, combo attack, and defense reduction. Combo attack. I mainly need 2 parts of a combo attack. Since I already have it, I'll put it aside for now. I'll upgrade it to critical hit and see the effect. Critical hit was still ruthless. Together with Tiger Weep's bonus, the damage dealt to small monsters and bosses was off the charts. After the inferior werewolf bloodline evolved, even its name changed. The first 2, inferior, were gone, and it became werewolf bloodline directly. What was even more terrifying was that after this upgrade, there were new attributes. Talent Werewolf Bloodline, Level 0 25% double critical hit, 5% triple critical hit. Damn! Triple critical hit. Lu Chen was instantly shocked. Not only did it increase the chance of double critical hit by 2%, but there was also an additional triple critical hit. Moreover, Tiger Weep added 160% critical hit damage. Moreover, this critical hit damage did not only add 160%. For example, if the attack was 100 and double critical hit, it would cause 200 points of damage, of which 100 points would be critical hit damage. Tiger Weep added 160% critical hit damage, then it would add 160 critical hit damage, causing a total of 360 points of damage. However, if it caused a triple critical hit, then the critical hit damage would be 200 points. Tiger Weep added 160% critical hit damage, then it would add 320 points. In addition to the previous 200 points, 100 points of initial damage, once a critical hit damage, the total damage would reach 620 points. Too strong. I previously thought that there might be a qualitative change after this upgrade. There was indeed a qualitative change, but I didn't expect it to be this strong. Is this the path of a one-hit sword? Lu Chen panted heavily. In view of this terrifying qualitative change, he now had to carefully consider which of the remaining primordial fragments he should upgrade. Chapter 122. After much consideration, Lu Chen made a difficult decision between combo and defense reduction. In the end, he assigned the second primordial fragment to the Tiger Demon Bloodlines combo. Triple combo. Triple combo. Triple combo. Lu Chen prayed anxiously. He did not plan to upgrade the combo, but after seeing the qualitative change of the werewolf bloodline, he chose the Tiger Demon Bloodline. If his guess was right and there was really a triple combo, then this skill would be very useful against bosses or small monsters. As for defense reduction, Lu Chen speculated that it might reduce the opponent's spiritual defense. Although it would be very useful in the future, at the moment, even the nightmare elves did not have high spiritual defense. Of course, this was all Lu Chen's guess. He did not know if it was right, so he could only rely on luck. He carefully opened the mission panel. Talent, Inferior Tiger Demon Bloodline, rank 5. Each attack can quickly launch 3 attacks. The attack power of the 3 attacks is 70% of the attack power of a single attack. Combo can enjoy the buffs of critical hit, burn, freeze, poison, and other effects. 0 out of 640, rank 6 Talent Fragment, 0 out of 2, Primordial Fragment, hahaha, that's great. It's really a triple combo. Lu Chen shouted excitedly. Combo was indeed overbearing. After the qualitative change, an additional attack was equivalent to a 50% increase in attack power. With this skill, Lu Chen's farming speed increased again. After the 2 talents were upgraded, Lu Chen's combat power had also undergone a qualitative change. This made Lu Chen deeply feel that farming those endless nightmare elves for the past few days was worth it. Oh, right, let's see if the little ghost girl has any more quests. It would be great if there are a few more primordial fragments as rewards. Lu Chen's head flew to Xiao Min. Xiao Min, is there anything else I can help you with? After a few interactions, Lu Chen felt that the little ghost girl's empty eye sockets were not so scary anymore. Instead, it gave him a pitiful feeling. Benefactor, you have already done a lot for us. I really don't want to trouble you anymore. Please don't say that. Lu Chen suddenly became nervous. Could it be that there was no more mission? No, I must make Xiao Min hand over the mission. Xiao Min, don't you understand? Slaying demons and upholding justice is the duty of our generation. How can you say it's troublesome? But benefactor, I don't want you to lose your life for us. You've already killed enough nightmare spirits and successfully delayed that thing's revival. Lu Chen sneered, are you kidding me? What's the use of delaying? We have to stop it. My life is not worth mentioning. Don't worry and leave the mission to me. Xiao Min was finally moved by Lu Chen's righteous attitude. Well, okay, but you must be careful. This mission is very dangerous. Whether it was dangerous or not was secondary. The most important thing was the reward. The mission came out quickly. Mission, Steal Spiritual Energy. Mission description, behind the Nightmare Army, they have set up a terrifying spirit-gathering formation that absorbs large amounts of our souls and transforms them into pure spirit energy to speed up the awakening of that fellow. Please stop their actions. Mission content, when the undead spirit-gathering formation is activated, steal 500,000 points of pure spirit energy produced by the spirit-gathering formation. Explanation 1. The stolen pure spirit energy will be temporarily added to the player's elixir and will be removed after the mission is completed. Explanation 2. Although it is only temporarily added to the elixir, the physical strength determines the upper limit of the spiritual energy. Remember to act according to your ability. Once the spiritual energy exceeds the lowest physical three-dimensional attribute, the player will die and the mission will fail. The player's original spiritual energy level will be reset to 0. Mission reward, Grade 1 Spirit Gathering Elixir, 10,000 points of pure spirit energy, *10, Instance Dungeon Source *1, Lu Chen blinked his eyes. He already knew the location of the mission. It should be the valley he saw before. But, what? This mission said that he had to act according to his ability. His spiritual energy couldn't exceed the lowest physical three-dimensional attribute. Lu Chen was now level 19. As a player who hadn't changed professions, his three-dimensional attribute was 34. Therefore, his spiritual energy couldn't exceed 34. Even if he upgraded from level 1 to level 34, he would only need 59,500 points of pure spirit energy. Even if he was a level 25 player, according to the average calculation, his three-dimensional attribute was 70. Upgrading from level 1 to the top would only require 248,500 points of pure spirit energy. If he consumed all 500,000 points of pure spirit energy, he would definitely be stuffed to death. Not to mention that a level 25 player would definitely have changed professions. After strengthening some attributes, some others would still be lower than average. The total amount of pure spirit energy that could be absorbed in the end would be even lower. Besides, it was impossible for a level 25 player to only have one spiritual energy. Generally, if a player wanted to do this mission, they would have to constantly release pure spirit energy to make enough space for the elixir. This mission seemed to have to be done many times before it could be completed. However, Lu Chen's basic three-dimensional attribute was 204. His current spiritual energy level was 12.5. Upgrading to the top required 208 million. 500,000 wasn't enough for him. So, this mission is free. Lu Chen was stunned. He couldn't believe it. The previous missions were so troublesome, but when it came to this mission, it was actually free. Of course, for other players, this mission was very time-consuming. However, Lu Chen's abnormal three-dimensional attribute allowed him to do this mission without any pressure. Although the mission reward was no longer the primordial fragment, the first-grade spirit gathering elixir was obviously not a reward at this stage. For many players, perhaps the first-grade spirit gathering elixir was even more tempting. Now, Lu Chen still had 9 spirit gathering elixirs, which were given to him by the first place of the Celestial Execution Tower. One elixir only added 1,000 points of pure spirit energy. How many levels could he upgrade with 100,000 points of pure spirit energy? Other than Little Green and Little Black, the 8 little guys of the 4 great divine beasts and the 4 great divine beasts only needed 100,000 points of pure spirit energy to grow. Thinking about it this way, this reward was actually not worse than the primordial blood and the primordial fragment. Accept the mission. Lu Chen accepted the mission without hesitation. This mission is definitely not the final mission. What exactly is the final mission reward? Judging from the difficulty of the mission, I might really have to kill that Cenobus. I'll go. The rest of the mission could be left for later. Lu Chen accepted the mission and went straight through the stone door. He had already been to the valley last time. This time, he avoided the nightmare spirits and floated straight toward the valley. After floating for almost 20 minutes, Lu Chen finally reached his destination. After finding the crooked tree that he had peeked at last time, Lu Chen used the same trick again. He hung his head on the tree and disguised himself as a part of the tree. His body was completely hidden in the grass. At this time, a large number of headless flying corpses and nightmare spirits had gathered in the valley. This scene was exactly the same as what Lu Chen had seen before. Damn, it's spawning again. So fast. Not long after, that huge skeleton in the form of a spirit appeared with its great sword. Cenobus did not even look at those panicking headless flying corpses. He walked to the center of the formation, inserted his great sword into the ground, and knelt down on one knee. Great God of the undead, please accept our sacrifice. In the undead spirit gathering formation, a strong light burst out and shot straight into the sky. It's coming, it's coming. How do I collect it? Lu Chen was a little anxious. Xiao Min did not specify how to collect it. Since this is a spirit gathering formation, then I should cultivate and take a look. Lu Chen immediately sat cross-legged and entered a state of cultivation. At this moment, a miracle happened. Lu Chen was shocked to find that his system messages were crazily flooding the screen. Obtain 3,000 pure spiritual energy, obtain 4,000 pure spiritual energy, obtain 4,000 pure spiritual energy, damn, my pure spiritual energy is rising. Is it crazy? Chapter 123. The speed of the refresh could be said to be the fastest in history. Every time, it increased by 3 to 4,000. Obtain 4,000 pure spiritual energy, obtain 4,000 pure spiritual energy, obtain 3,000 pure spiritual energy, fuck, what the hell? Lu Chen was dumbfounded. His spiritual power level was like riding an airplane. Spiritual Pill 14, 126/1400, Pure Spiritual Energy. Spiritual Pill 16, 1126/1600, Pure Spiritual Energy. Spiritual Pill 19, 126/1900, Pure Spiritual Energy. Although the pure spiritual energy was added at the last minute, this feeling was too good. This is the power of the spirit gathering array. It's too freaking abnormal. Lu Chen looked at the array in horror. Arrays were the specialty of talisman array masters. If a high-level talisman array master could make such a spirit gathering array, it would be too terrifying. Of course, perhaps when talisman array masters reached the level of making such a powerful array, the amount of pure spiritual energy they needed would be very terrifying. But no matter what, Lu Chen already realized how terrifying the 9 major professions would be in the future. The pillar of light was still bursting with strong light, and Lu Chen's pure spiritual energy was also rising crazily. An increase of 3,000 to 4,000 spiritual energy was not something an ordinary player's spiritual core could withstand. Moreover, the speed was too fast. In just a few seconds, Lu Chen's spiritual power had already risen several levels. The speed of growth is so fast. If I'm not careful, I might really explode and die. Lu Chen finally understood the difficulty of this mission. Not only was it time-consuming, but there was also a great risk. Once the body exploded and died, the original spiritual power level would be reset to 0. This mission was so terrifying. However, Lu Chen did not care at all. He fully enjoyed the feeling of his spiritual power soaring. A mere 500,000 spiritual energy was not enough for him. After a while, the system messages finally stopped. Lu Chen glanced at the mission tracking. 500,000 pure spiritual energy was enough. At this time, his spiritual power was 101. Mission completed. Before leaving, Lu Chen glanced at the spirit gathering array. At this time, the pillar of light had disappeared. There was only one person left in the array. That huge figure slowly stood up, standing alone in the great array. The headless flying corpses and Bai Lin had all turned into ashes, leaving him alone. After careful observation, Lu Chen suddenly realized that Cenobus' body seemed to be shorter than before. Why? It's worse than I expected. Sanabi's deep voice was tinged with anger. This guy won't find out that I stole his pure spiritual chi, right? Lu Chen felt a little guilty. Fortunately, Cenobus did not discover Lu Chen. As a person whose vision was 400 meters higher than the average person, Lu Chen was born to be a scout. Cenobus probably didn't understand either. He stood there foolishly for a while before giving up. After Cenobus left, Lu Chen hurriedly left as well. After exiting the stone door, Lu Chen successfully completed the quest. He received 10 grade 1 spirit gathering pills and an instance dungeon source. After putting the treasures into his backpack, Lu Chen stared at the little ghost girl. First, he wanted to see when the system would take back his spiritual chi. Second, Lu Chen wanted to think about how to receive the follow-up quest. But this time, before Lu Chen could speak, the little ghost girl spoke first. Xiao Min looked very excited and floated up. I can't believe that you actually succeeded in stealing the spirit gathering array's spiritual chi. That's great. This way, not only did we delay the appearance of that guy, but Cenobus must be very weak now. Benefactor, can you help us eliminate Cenobus? Damn, we have to kill that boss in the 4th round. Benefactor, you don't have to be afraid. Activating the spirit gathering array will consume a lot of Cenobus' spiritual chi. Originally, after the spirit gathering array disappears, part of its spiritual chi will return to its body. At that time, it will become very powerful. But now that the spirit gathering array has failed to activate, its spiritual chi has been stolen by us. Without the spiritual chi feedback, Cenobus' strength is only 1/10 of its original. As long as we kill it, we can open the undead gate. That is an important clue to find the door of the twilight of the gods. Although we don't have the strength to defeat the guy on the other side of the door of the dead, I believe that one day, there will be a strong person who will kill that terrifying guy. Ah! The door of the twilight of the gods. After Lu Chen heard this, he was stunned for a moment. He immediately opened his mission list. Currently, there was only one mission on his list. Mission, Divine Blood Demon Seed. Even the name of this mission was orange. Complete the missions, Ultimate Mythical Beast, and Ultimate Ferocious Beast, and clear the 3 hidden dungeons, Twilight of the Gods, Demon Shrine, and Haunted Valley. Collect the 4 Ultimate Ferocious Beasts, Black Rock Dragon Emperor, Purple Flame Phoenix, Sky-Devouring Demonic Tiger, and Emperor Fu Hai. Mission Progress, 1/4, collect the 4 Ultimate Mythical Beasts, Azure Dragon, Foodie Vermilion Bird, Aurora White Tiger, and Gilded Black Tortoise. Mission Progress, 1/4, Twilight of the Gods, Instance Dungeon, incomplete, Demon Shrine, Instance Dungeon, incomplete, Haunted Valley, Instance Dungeon, incomplete, Mission Reward, 1 portion of Divine Blood, 1 portion of Demon Seed. Lu Chen never expected that this stone door mission was actually related to the hidden dungeon, Twilight of the Gods. The Door of the Dead was an important clue to finding the door of the Twilight of the Gods. Even though Lu Chen had the urge to give up the mission when he saw the Divine Blood Demon Seed mission, there was now an additional clue. Lu Chen furrowed his brows and asked solemnly, "Is that Skeleton King also a nightmare spirit? Is physical attack effective?" Physical attack is ineffective, but your spiritual power has reached the upper limit now. You can use spiritual attack to attack, and I will assist you to increase your spiritual attack. Lu Chen's spiritual power had obviously not reached the upper limit. It seemed that no one could reach such a high level of spiritual power, so Xiao Min assumed that Lu Chen's spiritual power was already at the upper limit. At this moment, a new mission appeared. Mission, Kill the Watchdog. Mission description, this is when Cenobus is at his weakest. It is also the best time for us to counterattack. Mission details, work with Xiao Min to kill the Door of the Dead's watchdog, Cenobus. Explanation 1, this mission must be completed within 5 hours after the completion of the Steal Spiritual Power mission. Otherwise, the mission will be considered a failure. The player will have to accept the Steal Spiritual Power mission again and will not enjoy any rewards. Explanation 2, if the player is killed during the mission, the player will permanently lose all spiritual energy and spiritual power level, the player's own spiritual power level. At the same time, Cenobus will be strengthened. Mission reward, Ghost Pet Xiao Min, purple, unique in the entire server, available to all professions, origin of the instance dungeon *1, Lu Chen looked at Xiao Min. This fellow had been acting pitiful for a few days. What kind of purple ghost pet was this? You can fight Cenobus with me, and you even let me kill so many nightmares. Speaking of which, if he recruited Xiao Min, he would have another strange member in his team. The mission was obviously not easy to complete, but Lu Chen still decided to give it a try. We're finally going to fight the boss. Xiao Min, you better not disappoint me. Let's go and kill that watchdog. Accept the mission to kill the watchdog. Lu Chen took a deep breath and stepped through the stone door again. Chapter 124. Xiao Min had joined the party. The 2 ghosts silently floated towards the valley. When they reached the valley, Lu Chen observed the spirit gathering formation. After completing the spirit stealing quest, there were no more headless flying corpses and nightmare spirits spawning in the spirit gathering formation. Cenobus was also not here. There were only the talismans on the ground in the valley, making it seem empty. Maybe Cenobus is too weak to activate the formation again. Lu Chen was a little depressed. He had unknowingly imagined so many scenarios. Wasn't this just a game? Why was he thinking so much? Oh right, Xiao Min, what skills do you have? You should at least tell me so I can come up with a strategy. Lu Chen looked at the little mummy. Xiao Min ignored Lu Chen and floated towards the valley. Hey, Xiao Min. Lu Chen frowned. Why didn't this girl listen to his instructions? It would be troublesome if she attracted monsters. He quickly followed. Fortunately, there were no ghosts here. Xiao Min came to the center of the formation alone. At this moment, Lu Chen noticed that there was a pearl floating there. This pearl was about the size of a fist. It was completely red and covered with strange patterns. Lu Chen frowned. The reason why formations could be activated was that they needed a magic treasure to hold the formation. The magic treasure was placed in the center of the formation to provide energy for the formation to operate. Since this undead spirit gathering array was so powerful, it naturally needed a magic treasure to hold it down. Could this bead be a magic treasure? Thinking of this, Lu Chen reached out to take the pearl. Don't move. Xiao Min suddenly said. Why? Lu Chen asked curiously. Xiao Min turned around and looked at Lu Chen's head with her hollow eyes. Do you know about the 3 god pearls? No, I only know about the 7 dragon pearls. Xiao Min directly ignored the second half of Lu Chen's sentence. The 3 divine beads are the dust bead, the red pill bead, and the dust avoidance bead. Lu Chen frowned as he listened to the NPC's explanation. He had to listen carefully. Firstly, it might have something to do with the twilight of the gods. Secondly, it might be the best equipment in the Jiutian. Every single one of the 3 divine pearls contains an incomparably enormous power. Even though this fake urchin pearl is far from being as powerful as the real urchin pearl, if one were to take it without grasping the key points, one would definitely die. Then, Xiao Min's voice became choked with sobs. My parents and family were destroyed by this bead, never to be reincarnated. At this moment, the pseudo-mucin pearl's entire body became transparent, and some images actually appeared within the pearl. In the forest, a family of 5 people in ragged clothes were fleeing in panic. The adult man urged everyone to run while constantly looking back at the dense forest behind him. There were always some strange noises in the forest. He didn't know if it was the rustling of the trees or something hidden in the forest. Not long after, they escaped to a barren wasteland. A few white shadows flashed past, and the family of 5 instantly fell into a pool of blood. Lu Chen frowned slightly. Were these Xiao Min's former family? That little girl should be what Xiao Min looked like when she was alive. She was actually a little lowly. The white shadows seemed to be the Phantom Moon's silver wolf. Did they die in the hands of the Phantom Moon's silver wolf? After an unknown period of time, the sun set and the sun rose. Spring and winter alternated. The fearless corpses on the barren wasteland actually moved. Even though they did not reincarnate and were reborn in the form of undead, they no longer had to be afraid. They hid underground during the day and could gather as a family at night. Instead, their days became peaceful and warm. Until Cenobus appeared. In order to protect Xiao Min's parents, brother, and sister pounced on Cenobus. At that moment, Lu Chen saw the eyes on Xiao Min's parents' heads. He actually felt that this gaze was somewhat familiar. Just as they approached Cenobus, a crimson pearl appeared. Along with many other headless flying corpses, their bodies and souls were stretched until they were completely sucked into the mucin pearl. Seeing this, Lu Chen already knew about Xiao Min's past. He also knew that the pearl in front of him was that crimson pearl. Lu Chen instinctively retracted his hand. It turned out that Xiao Min didn't come to take the pearl, but to see her family. For some reason, Lu Chen's heart felt heavy. He had to admit that Tian Xing had put in a lot of effort into the cutscenes. Every character's expression, action, scene, and plot were all so realistic that when Lu Chen looked at the little ghost beside him again, he couldn't treat her as a pure NPC. In order to protect her, her family members were destroyed in body and soul. Therefore, This little ghost girl had been guarding outside the stone door. Day after day, her body became drier than the 8 heads. She must have waited for a very, very long time. She had been waiting for someone who could help her take revenge. Xiao Min didn't have eyes, but those empty eye sockets seemed to let others see her pain. Xiao Min, benefactor, let's go. It's getting late. Okay. Lu Chen stopped thinking about the Mukin Pearl. It seemed that it wasn't something that players could take at the moment. Lu Chen sorted out his emotions. No matter how realistic the game was, it was still a game. He had to arrange his work and rest time properly. He couldn't be addicted to the game. After passing through the passage in the valley, another small valley appeared in front of them. There, the watchdog, Cenobus, was resting against the side of the mountain. Even though Xiao Min said that Cenobus was at its weakest, Lu Chen was still a little nervous when he saw the huge guy. The 8 heads, 3 idiots, and 10 beasts weren't here. His margin for error was lower. Now, only Xiao Min could help him. Whether Xiao Min was strong or not, that guy didn't say anything. Benefactor, we're here. Lu Chen nodded. How are we going to fight? I think it's safer for you to take my damage. I can't take a hit from it. Actually, you can't take a hit from it either. Its magic attack should be above 10,000. Lu Chen almost broke down. Magic attack above 2,000. Then he could only take 2 hits at most. Lu Chen stared at Xiao Min with wide eyes. Big sister, didn't you say that it's very weak now? Then are we here to deliver our heads to them? This guy is only level 27. Why is his attack so high? His power comes from the pseudo-mutagen pearl. Even if it's not a real mutagen pearl, it's still one of the top Jiutian equipment. The bonus is still terrifying. Lu Chen shook his head. Xiao Min was right. Tiger Weep, a level 15 equipment, added more than 100 attack. That top equipment must be crazy. Then even if he's weak now, we can't beat him. Benefactor, when I say weak, I'm referring to his movement speed, attack speed, and ability activation speed. We have to rely on our positioning to avoid all of his attacks, including ability attacks. His ability is very strong, unpredictable, and has a very large range. Also, don't use any long-range attacks. If you attack him from a distance, he has a certain chance to counterattack. That ability cannot be avoided. Avoid all attacks. Including avoiding ability attacks. And close combat? Was this even a fucking human mission? Yes, and ability attacks. Lu Chen nodded in satisfaction. That's right. This guy is already level 27. He must have an ability attack. Hearing you say that, I completely understand. Then here's the problem. Didn't the mission say that you would help me? After saying so much, how are you going to help me? You have to do something. Xiao Min seemed to have something she couldn't say. She looked at Lu Chen pitifully. Benefactor, I will help you when necessary. If you really don't want to take the risk, Xiao Min won't force you. Lu Chen was speechless. Alright, since he was already here, for the mission reward, for the Twilight of the Gods dungeon, and for a little bit of revenge for Xiao Min, Lu Chen didn't give up on the mission. Change into human skin. Since he couldn't fight from a distance, he could only use his body to fight in close combat. For such a difficult operation, Lu Chen could only use his own body to be more confident. Lu Chen's head finally returned. He did a set of push-ups on the spot, raised his leg high, ran, lunged, sighed, and moved his head. Benefactor, what are you doing? If I want to make 0 mistakes, of course I have to find the feeling of my body. Lu Chen took a deep breath, exhaled quickly, and took out Tiger Weep. Okay, come on. Chapter 125. Lu Chen was already the strongest player at the moment, but the monsters in Jyotian seemed to be even more terrifying. When Lu Chen stood in front of Cenobus, his huge body seemed to symbolize the difference in strength between the two sides. Cenobus was also a spirit-type monster, so Lu Chen had to add spiritual attack into his attacks. Of course, he still had Fierce Tiger Descends the Mountain and Tiger's Roar. Fierce Tiger Descends the Mountain, Tiger's Roar. Lu Chen maxed out his damage right from the start. Standing beside Cenobus, Lu Chen launched his first round of attacks. -1681, critical hit, -474, critical hit, -1721, critical hit, -482, critical hit, -1644, critical hit. After leveling up his talent combo, Lu Chen directly dealt 6 hits in one go. The total damage was 7,666. A large chunk of Cenobus' HP had been taken away. His health isn't very high. Lu Chen was pleasantly surprised. This guy also had 30,000 health. It seemed that his main strength was high in spiritual attack, but his health was average. Based on this damage, Lu Chen only needed to launch 5 waves of attacks to kill this guy. Fierce Tiger Descends the Mountain's cooldown was 2 minutes. 4 cooldowns would be enough. When Lu Chen went forward to attack Lu Chen, Xiao Min was like a shadow, following Lu Chen. Be careful, he's about to counterattack. Attack range, 8 meters. Cenobus turned very slowly, and his attack movements were also slower than most bosses. Based on this speed, Lu Chen estimated that he should be able to dodge. After one wave of attacks succeeded, he quickly retreated. In Jyotian's game mechanics, if you were within the opponent's attack range, unless you had the dodge attribute, you couldn't dodge the opponent's attack. However, there was one exception. That was, when the opponent had already launched an attack, before the attack ended, retreating out of the opponent's attack range would allow you to avoid the opponent's attack. In fact, this could be done in many games as well. In Jyotian, to do this, one had to have an extremely accurate control of the distance. At the same time, other conditions had to be met. For example, Cenobus' attack speed was slow, and Lu Chen's movement speed was fast enough to complete the retreat. Lu Chen had just retreated out of the attack range when the opponent's greatsword was about to land, and he managed to avoid the attack. Arg! Cenobus seemed to be very angry at his failure and roared angrily. The next moment, Cenobus raised his greatsword and placed it in front of his chest. A stream of light suddenly appeared on the blade and quickly passed through the greatsword. It's the yellow-grade martial art, Great Ravager Sweep. It creates 3 arc-shaped sword chi, and each sword chi is 13 meters long. Benefactor, move quickly. Run in one direction, and don't look back. Xiao Min shouted. Lu Chen didn't dare to be negligent. As he fled, he took the opportunity to open up the Reputation Mall. As a gamer who had almost entered the esports scene, it was easy for him to handle such details. Purchase a yellow-level cultivation method summary scroll. Use. As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Chen's body flashed with a golden light, and Great Ravager Sweep swept toward him. A huge arc of sword chi flew toward Lu Chen. Seeing this huge sword chi, Lu Chen's 100-meter dash was instantly reduced to 9 seconds, oh my god. The 3 sword chi were not released at the same time, but one after the other. Lu Chen barely dodged the first sword chi, but the second sword chi was about to reach him. Fuck, this is going to kill me. I won't be cut in half if I get hit by this, right? Lu Chen didn't care about anything else. Running for his life was more important. He finally dodged the 3 sword chi. Benefactor, take advantage of this opportunity to attack. Although Lu Chen mainly relied on Tiger's Roar to attack, it would be good if he could deal a little more damage. Xiao Min said that this was an opportunity, so it shouldn't be wrong. Lu Chen quickly rushed toward Cenobus, his 2 swords dancing. Minus 533, minus 512, minus 497. His movements were as fierce as a tiger, but he lost 1500 HP. Retreat, he's going to attack again. Fuck you, so your only use is to be a live commentator, right? Lu Chen cursed as he quickly retreated. Cenobus' greatsword looked terrifying, and Lu Chen didn't want to be hit. Suddenly, Cenobus raised his greatsword high. Ugh, spiritual sword rain. Lu Chen hurriedly asked Xiao Min, what skill is this, tell me. Xiao Min carefully looked at Cenobus' greatsword, then turned around to look at the battlefield. Suddenly, she said, it's an AoE attack that almost covers the entire valley. Hurry, run to the entrance of the valley. Fuck. Lu Chen used all his strength to run toward the entrance of the valley. At this moment, Lu Chen really regretted it. He should have upgraded his venomous spider bloodline. Maybe it would have increased his movement speed. If it weren't for Lu Chen's tall physique, he wouldn't have had enough stamina to fight this battle. Just as Lu Chen ran near the entrance, the entire battlefield behind him was bathed in countless illusory arrows that fell from the sky. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. A large number of translucent arrows crazily smashed into the ground. What's the level of this skill? Profound. Fuck, I really want this skill. Lu Chen really wanted to cry. With this skill, farming in the wild and fighting would be awesome. Hurry, don't be too far away, or you'll have to leave the battle. Lu Chen shook his head. As expected, this battle was going to be a tough one. Not only did he have to run all over the place, but if he made the slightest mistake, all his previous efforts would be wasted. When the rain of swords ended, Lu Chen quickly rushed toward Cenobus and took the opportunity to attack. 8 minutes, I must hold on. 2 minutes later, Lu Chen launched his second wave of fierce attacks, dealing another 7,500 damage. 4 minutes later, the third wave of attacks. This time, Lu Chen's luck was off the charts. He directly dealt 3 times the critical hit, dealing 9,000 damage in one wave. At this time, Lu Chen had already used Tiger Descends the Mountain and Tiger's Roar 3 times, with many normal attacks in between. Cenobus's HP was only left with around 5,000. One more attack and he would be able to kill it. In order to avoid Cenobus's attacks, Lu Chen didn't rest for a moment. He was either fighting or running. Unknowingly, his stamina was rapidly depleting. Just as Tiger Descends the Mountain's cooldown was about to end, Lu Chen's stamina was the first to run out. Oh no, I don't have enough stamina. I can't run or attack. Cenobus's greatsword attack came again. Lu Chen tried to escape again, but halfway through, his stamina was depleted. He couldn't run anymore. Fuck. Seeing the greatsword that was several times larger than himself coming at him, Lu Chen was frustrated and desperate. Just a little bit more. At this time, Xiao Min suddenly rushed in front of Lu Chen. Benefactor, promise me that you'll avenge me and my family. Xiao Min. Lu Chen looked at the little ghost girl in surprise. Wasn't her role to attack and warn him of skills? I said that I'd protect you at a critical moment. Benefactor, I believe you'll succeed. Also, thank you. After saying that, Xiao Min's body suddenly turned into countless light spots and exploded in front of Lu Chen. These light spots were just about to disperse, but they were forcefully compressed by a force. Finally, they formed a ball of light that wrapped Lu Chen in the middle. Lu Chen's stamina quickly recovered and was back to full in an instant. At the same time, the ball of light blocked Cenobus's fatal attack. In the end, it shattered into light spots and scattered. Xiao Min. Lu Chen suddenly felt his heart ache. At this time, Tiger Descends the Mountain's cooldown was finally over. Lu Chen gritted his teeth and rushed at Cenobus. Fuck. Tiger Descends the Mountain, Tiger's Roar. Explode. Chapter 126. With the last wave of attacks, Cenobus' huge body finally fell. Killed Cenobus, level 27 storyline boss. Captured 23,000 points of heaven and earth spirit energy. Obtained 10 pure spirit energy. Ding! Obtained item, Instance Dungeon Source. Obtained item, Black Level Technique Scroll, Spiritual Sword Rain. Obtained item, Dead Soul Door Key, Mission Item. This boss was actually a storyline boss, and it did not even drop materials. However, what surprised Lu Chen was that he did not even need to learn the Instance Dungeon Source and the group attack technique that he had been dreaming of. Just this cultivation method alone was probably worth a sky-high price. The mission, Kill the Watchdog, had been completed, but who should he give the mission to? Xiao Min seemed to have died just now. Benefactor. Hearing this voice, Lu Chen suddenly turned around and found a spirit floating in front of him. The current Xiao Min was no longer in the form of a mummy, but a mass of energy. However, unlike the nightmare spirit, which did not have a specific form, Xiao Min had her own appearance. It was the little loli he saw in the red pearl. Xiao Min. You're still alive. Benefactor, I'm not really alive now. It's just that my physical body has been destroyed, and now I'm in the state of a spirit. Lu Chen also breathed a sigh of relief. There was a place to hand in the mission, and after this series of missions, he did not want Xiao Min to disappear just like that. He had to admit that the current Xiao Min looked much cuter. Benefactor, thank you for avenging me. Xiao Min said happily. Now that my resentment has been resolved, I can reincarnate again. However, to completely defeat that guy, Benefactor still has a long way to go. Xiao Min is worried about Benefactor being alone. If Benefactor doesn't mind, can Xiao Min follow Benefactor? Lu Chen was waiting for this sentence. A purple spirit pet should be very strong. Of course. Lu Chen smiled slightly. Obtained Instance Dungeon Source *1. Obtained Purple Spirit Pet, Xiao Min, all 5 Instance Dungeon support items were gathered. Lu Chen did not take them seriously, but since they were all gathered, it was an unexpected gain. Lu Chen gained a lot from this series of missions. It was not a waste of time and energy. In the pet column, after the 10 beasts, there was an additional Spirit Pet, Xiao Min. What are the attributes of a purple pet? Let's see. Pet, Xiao Min, purple, the only one in the entire server, type, spirit, level, 19, his level shouldn't be higher than mine, Lu Chen speculated. Body toughness, body destroyed, no attributes, spiritual strength spiritual power of spiritual power, 101. Seeing this, Lu Chen felt that it was familiar. This spiritual force seemed to be the spiritual force that he had reached before. He looked at his attributes. His spiritual force had returned to 12 points. It seems that how much spiritual force I can get from the 3rd mission will eventually become Xiao Min's spiritual force. Fuck, Xiao Min has 101 spiritual force. He continued to look. Health points, 2000, Spirit Bloodline, Talent 1, cannot be upgraded. Spirit Body, immune to physical attacks, can be permanently invisible during the day, special magic treasures or charms can make it appear. Spirit Body Bloodline Talent 2, cannot be leveled up. Possess a unit on your side. The possessed unit will receive a 35% movement speed increase and immunity to a certain death damage every 120 seconds. The possessed unit will also be able to become invisible during the day for 100 seconds, active attacks or special artifacts or charms can cause the unit to appear. Spirit Bloodline, Talent 3, Level 4 provide a spiritual force enhancement halo to the surroundings, causing allies within a 20-meter diameter to attack with 80% of Xiao Min's spiritual force, 81 points, damage. It turned out that Xiao Min was a support-type pet. Xiao Min didn't even have a 3-dimensional body. Sure enough, her body was destroyed. And her health points were only 2000. It felt like Lu Chen could kill her in one hit. However, Xiao Min must have her capital to be able to become a purple ghost pet. She actually had 3 talents. And each talent could be called a godly skill. Spirit Body's 2 sentences were enough to drive people crazy. Immunity to physical attacks. Then the concept of her 2000 health points was that whoever could hit 2000 spiritual attack could kill her instantly. As long as she couldn't be killed instantly, she could run or possess. In short, although her health points were low, it was almost impossible to die. During the day, she was permanently invisible and couldn't be found. It was simply a shameless skill. Fortunately, it was the only one in the entire server. Possession increased movement speed by 35%. This was already strong enough. In the end, she was immune to certain death damage and actively obtained the stealth effect. Once every 120 seconds. It was simply a godly skill to fight a high-explosive boss or turn the tide of a battle. The last skill was even more simple and violent. It was an aura-type talent that increased attack. Every attack had a spiritual attack. I don't know if my fierce tiger descends the mountain will trigger this effect multiple times in a row. Lu Chen really wanted to give it a try. Unfortunately, there were no monsters around. He had to walk a little further to find the nightmare spirit. Lu Chen didn't lack fighters. What he lacked now was this kind of support-type helper. Not only could it save him, but it could also save the team members. The 10 beasts were definitely worthy of the title of Purple Ghost Pet. So strong. Oh right, Xiao Min, what is this undead gate key for? It says that it's a quest item. Master, Xiao Min had already changed her words. That's the key to open the undead gate. The undead gate is nearby. It's a level 50 elite dungeon. Level 50. Lu Chen immediately dismissed the idea of going to the undead gate. Anyway, the Divine Blood Demon Seed quest wasn't something that could be completed in a short period of time. This time, he had already earned a lot from the Stone Door quest. Lu Chen was quite satisfied. Xiao Min seemed to be different from the 8-headed 3 idiots. She could converse with Lu Chen. Or rather, the 10 beasts seemed to be more agile. Perhaps Jianqing had set some AI settings for his pets. Xiao Min, do you know what a dungeon is for? A dungeon is actually a kind of paradise. Master, haven't you noticed that as long as it's a wild monster in a dungeon, their quality is higher than wild monsters? Lu Chen nodded. That's true. But isn't this arranged by the programmer? Jiutian has its own wild monster ecosystem. Everything happens for a reason. Xiao Min said something profound. But Lu Chen was touched. Wild monster ecosystem. Could this be the reason why he still existed in the game? Not only did Tianqing not come looking for him to delete or reset his account, but he also had his own evolution path. Master, a dungeon is not only filled with spiritual energy, but it is also the most important place to store and synthesize spirit essences. What do you mean? Lu Chen immediately became excited. He needed a large amount of spirit essences to feed the 10 beasts. As the only NPC that provided the dungeon source, Xiao Min was very clear about dungeons. When a unit dies in a dungeon, part of its spirit essences will dissipate. A dungeon is a sealed environment with abundant spiritual energy, so it can be collected and stored. Lu Chen frowned. He had 3,500 spirit essences in his backpack. Why could they only be stored in dungeons? Thinking of this, Lu Chen checked his backpack. With one look, Lu Chen was shocked. Fuck, I only have 3,200 spirit essences left. Alright, now Lu Chen had to believe that the things in his backpack had an expiration date. Dungeons can collect and store spirit essences. I guess I understand now. Then what is this synthesizing thing you were talking about? After a spirit essence leaves a living creature, it's just a ball of pure energy with attributes. When spirit essences of different attributes are mixed, they can be synthesized into spirit essences of new attributes. Lu Chen was confused, but he finally came to a conclusion. It didn't matter if other people built dungeons, but he had to build one. Not only did he have to build it, but he also had to upgrade it in the future. The more players entered, the more spirit essences he could collect in the dungeon. The rations of the 10 beasts depended on the dungeon. Chapter 127. After returning from the Stone Gate world, Lu Chen returned to Ren Ai Peak. After checking his backpack, Lu Chen hurriedly fed the chaotic creature's soul to little Hun Hun. It wouldn't expire if it was kept in its stomach. There were 12 spirit gathering pills, 10 grade 1 spirit gathering pills, 8 spirit source fragments, 5 instance dungeon sources, 1 dead spirit door secret room, 1 low yellow level skill book, Great Ravager Sweep, and 1 low black level skill book, Spirit Sword Rain. After synthesizing the instance dungeon sources, Lu Chen followed the guidance of the instance dungeon option and asked the idiots to get stone, wood, and other materials. These materials required a lot, and it wouldn't be easy to get them in a short time. It seemed that the idiots would have to work hard for the next few days. Upgrade the spirit source. Lu Chen opened the territory option and chose the spirit source. The territory's spirit source was now at level 1, and 1 fragment could upgrade it by 10%. After using up all the fragments, it would be upgraded to 80%. Putting the spirit gathering pills aside, Lu Chen looked at the 2 skills first. The yellow level skill book was summarized by Lu Chen. After the summary, Lu Chen could learn it directly. In Lu Chen's skill book, there was a second skill book under entanglement of spider silk. Great Ravager Sweep, level 1, uses spiritual energy to launch several sword auras. Each sword aura causes 180% spiritual attack, 22 points, in area damage. Each sword aura consumes 300 points of pure spiritual energy. The first sword aura requires 3 seconds of charging. If used consecutively, the subsequent sword auras will charge for 1 second. You can stop the skill. When your spiritual energy is less than 300 points, you will stop the skill. So it's this mechanism. Lu Chen frowned. This skill book was very simple. It just increased spiritual attack and produced an area of effect attack. There were no other effects, and the damage was very low. It was worthy of its title as a low yellow level skill. It was the same skill, but the boss used a strong skill. Lu Chen used it, but it was like scratching an itch. Lu Chen was still a little unwilling to give up. It was hard to get an area of effect skill book, and it would be a pity to just throw it away. If Xiaomin's aura could increase the damage of Great Ravager's horizontal sweep, it would only deal 103 points of damage. Lu Chen could unleash 4 streaks of sword chi, which would deal around 400 points of damage. It's too low. AoE attacks really do have low damage. If I had more pure spiritual energy, it might be useful. But now, I can only use it 4 times. The damage can't stack up. Lu Chen shook his head. The Great Ravager's horizontal sweep was truly a useless do, unable to deal any damage. Take a look at the spiritual sword rain. Lu Chen tried to click learn, but the system said, your spiritual energy does not meet the learning requirements. The minimum spiritual energy requirement to learn Rain Sword is 500 points. Damn, there's even a spiritual power requirement. After looking at the 2 techniques, Lu Chen became more and more aware that in the later stages of Jiutian, physical strength was nothing. What was truly powerful was spiritual power. Since he could not learn it, he would just leave it in the army's warehouse. Lu Chen's gaze landed on the Great Ravager's sweep. Little cow can't grow with just pure spiritual energy. It's a waste to give it these spirit-gathering pills. In view of the importance of spiritual power, Lu Chen changed his strategy and took the spirit-gathering pills himself. With 2,000 points of pure spiritual energy, Lu Chen swallowed them all in one go. Lu Chen's spirit-gathering pills directly leveled up to level 49. His spiritual energy reached 49 points, and his spirit-gathering pills had 4,900 points of pure spiritual energy. Now, the damage of the Great Ravager's horizontal sweep was 88 points. If Xiaomin's aura was added, the damage would reach 169 points. Most importantly, the amount of spirit-gathering pills had increased. Lu Chen could use 16 sword auras in a row, and the total damage could stack up to 2,700 points. It's still useless. Lu Chen sat on the ground, frowning. If the damage couldn't kill the monster, then AoE attacks were meaningless. Racking his brains, Lu Chen thought of all the methods he could use to increase his spiritual energy. In the end, he placed his hopes on Tiger Weep. Cenobus also relied on equipment to increase his spiritual attack. This means that the skill is affected by the equipment. Although Tiger Weep only increased physical attack, if he used Tiger Roar, all of his physical attack would be converted into spiritual attack. Thinking of this, Lu Chen suddenly became excited. He quickly used Tiger Roar. Great Ravager's horizontal sweep, level 1. Uses spiritual energy to launch several sword auras. Each sword aura deals 180% spiritual attack, 1090 to 1120, AoE damage. Adding Xiao Min's attack, it was close to 1,200 points of damage. This damage is good enough. Lu Chen hurriedly ran out of the territory and found a wild tiger monster to test it out. Tiger Roar. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The 3 sword auras had a large attack range and took 3,500 points of the tiger monster's HP. The damage was already quite impressive. He was just a bit away from insta-killing it. But the stranger thing was still to come. After Lu Chen released the 3 sword auras, he suddenly discovered something terrifying. In the skill description, his damage was still 1,200 points. How could it be? What the hell, why is my spiritual attack still so high? The effect of Tiger Roar was that the next 3 attacks would convert physical attack into spiritual attack. If he did not attack after using Tiger Roar, this effect would last for 60 seconds until Tiger Roar's cooldown. That's right, it's because I used a skill attack and not a normal attack. So from Tiger Roar's point of view, I did not complete the next 3 attacks. My physical attack was still converted into spiritual attack. Thinking of this, Lu Chen could not remain calm. If his thinking was correct, it meant that as long as he did not use a normal attack, he could always maintain 1,200 points of damage. 16 sword auras, 19,200 points of damage. And it was an AoE attack. Lu Chen could not wait and directly waved Tiger Weep. Whoosh 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 whoosh. Dozens of sword auras were swept away. In the skill description, his damage was still 1,200. Even Lu Chen was so excited that he forgot himself. Ha 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 ha, I found a loophole. Ha ha ha, I'm going to have a great time killing monsters now. After returning to the territory, Lu Chen brought little Hun Dun and Xiao Min and went straight to the stone gate. Boss, what are we going to do? Let them build the dungeon first. We're going to try out my new skill. Lu Chen spoke with confidence. After arriving at the world of the stone gate, Lu Chen let Xiao Min possess him and carried little Hun Dun as he ran past the Bai Ling. Little cow was indeed a divine beast cub. It was not good at fighting, but its ability to attract aggro was top-notch. The Bai Ling noticed the divine beast cub from afar and ran over with Lu Chen. Now that Lu Chen had an additional 35% movement speed, he did not have to worry about being caught. Instead, he had to slow down from time to time to prevent them from losing him. Along the way, Lu Chen kept pulling aggro. The Bai Ling behind him had already gathered into a large group of white balls of light. Previously, Lu Chen did not run through the entire world of the stone gate. But this time, he had almost figured out the map of the entire world of the stone gate. Xiao Min, how many are there? 1,800. Alright, that's about it. Lu Chen quickened his pace and ran a few steps toward the empty space in front of him. Then, he suddenly stopped and placed little Hun Dun in front of him. When the Bai Ling saw little Hun Dun there, they continued to charge toward him. Lu Chen held Tiger Whip with both hands, took a deep breath, and accumulated power, Great Ravager Sweep. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. 5 sword auras swept toward the Bai Ling army, extending dozens of meters away. -1,200, -1,206, -1,192, -1,194, -1,211. Countless numbers jumped out from the Bai Ling's head. In the next moment, Lu Chen's system notifications flooded the screen crazily. Killed Bai Ling, level 22 elite. Captured 1,570 aura points. Obtained 1 stage 5 talent fragment. Obtained 1 5-star quality point. Obtained 1 chaos type creature soul essence. Extracted 1 pure aura points. Killed Bai Ling, level 22 elite. Captured 1,570 aura points. Obtained 1 stage 5 talent fragment. Obtained 1 5-star quality point. Obtained 1 chaos type creature soul essence. Extracted 1 pure aura points. Killed Bai Ling, level 22 elite. Captured 1,570 aura points. Obtained 1 stage 5 talent fragment. Obtained 1 5-star quality point. Obtained 1 chaos type creature soul essence. Extracted 1 pure aura points. A golden light flashed. With one slash, Lu Chen leveled up. Chapter 128. The experience required to level up from level 19 to level 20 had increased to 1 million, and it would increase by 500,000 for every subsequent level. Lu Chen had spent almost a week to complete the 3,500 Nightmare Elves quest and only reached level 21. However, after this wave, Lu Chen reached level 22 with a flash of golden light. Even after the Nightmare Elves had all fallen, Lu Chen's system notifications were still spamming, "Fuck, this is too good." Lu Chen was shocked himself. With the Great Ravager Sweep, known as the most difficult leveling game in history, Lu Chen felt like he was playing a game. "No, I'm not done yet. I want a few more waves." Nameless Bro had disappeared for a week. After focusing on the Tiger King's cave, stopping Wuxia, and the Korean server's Misty Forest incident, the Asia server finally stopped. Especially the players from the Wuxia server, they were all busy leveling up and getting equipment. The experience gained from the Tiger King's cave also allowed the players to experience the joy of leveling up. Among them, Thunderbolt relied on the solid skills of the members and the strong support behind them to maintain the standard of a first-rate team. Today, they were trying to clear the Tiger King's cave in 10 minutes to lure out the third hidden boss. The leader, Thunderbolt Storm, was nervously making the final strategic arrangements. The ones participating in this dungeon were the leaders of 5 teams, 3 men and 2 women. Storm, Lord of Heaven, Mu Hua, Chiu Feng, and Cu were all level 19. Storm was holding the Tiger Sob while the other 4 were holding the Dark Metal Sword. Storm and Lord of Heaven had 3 pieces of the Tiger King set while the other 3 had 2 pieces of the Tiger King set. This configuration was already the best configuration. The 10-minute charge this time is very important. No one can make any mistakes. Storm was making the final arrangements with the team members. This time, the team's charge at the third hidden boss was broadcasted live, so Thunderbolt Storm was also a little nervous. Lord of Heaven and I will each pull one path directly to the boss room. Mu Hua, Chiu Feng, and Cu will pull the middle path 20 seconds after we set off. Then, at the position we determined earlier, Chiu Feng, Cu, you two take your pets and don't attack. Mu Hua, you keep using the fragment cannon. Lord of Heaven and I will use the myriad sword technique to clear the monsters quickly. Got it, boss. Yes. Have you brought enough damage increasing potions and defensive enhancing potions? Yes. 9 gates, get the Talisman Matrix Master to buff the Golden Bell Talisman and enter the dungeon immediately. The 5 Talisman Formation Masters buffed the 5 of them, and the Thunderclap squad finally set off. To be able to become the team leader of Thunderclap, these 5 players all had top-notch skills. They had succeeded in the early stages in one go. With the 5 of them pulling the monster at the same time, they would definitely be faster than Lu Chen running alone. In 2.5 minutes, they had already finished pulling the monster and blocking its path. All that was left was to deal damage with all they had. Mu Hua was an explosive specialist. Not only did Shard Explosion have a continuous burning effect, but it also had a splash effect that dealt high damage. Storm and Heaven Monarch were both sword spirit cultivators. After learning the myriad sword art, their damage had been further increased. After 6.5 minutes, most of the mobs had been cleared. There were only 3 bosses left. Many players were watching the live stream. If Thunderclap can clear all the mobs in 6 minutes, then they'll have a chance this time. Yeah, TT took 7 minutes to clear the mobs last time. That time, they almost reached 10 minutes. Their equipment is similar to TT's. They've also added all the buffs they can. However, TT used 3 sword spirit cultivators, and they added an explosive specialist. Those potions and talismans cost a lot of money. This dungeon is burning money. How can Tiger Weep compare with that bit of money? Speaking of which, there aren't many players who play Explosive Specialist. Actually, the continuous buffs from Explosive Specialist are very strong. Let's go, let's go. If someone can clear the 3rd hidden boss, then the price of Tiger Weep will drop. Time ticked by, and as the 10 minutes got closer and closer, everyone began to feel nervous. At 9 minutes and 53 seconds, the 5 of them killed the last boss, Golden Blade Tiger, and successfully cleared the dungeon. At this moment, the 5 of them hugged each other excitedly and celebrated. Oh yeah, we cleared it. 9 minutes and 43 seconds. Ha ha ha, we did it. We did it. We can also farm Tiger Weep in the future. I told you we were strong. I told you, we cleared it. 9 minutes and 43 seconds. Haha, we might be able to break the Nameless record. If they could clear the 3rd boss, the team's equipment would be upgraded again, and the dropped purple materials would increase their profession level. Then, the time taken would definitely be shortened. The Nameless record was 9 minutes and 32 seconds. The difference was only 11 seconds. Soon, the news of Thunder Guild clearing the 3rd hidden boss caused a huge uproar in the Chinese server. Thunder Guild's reputation soared. No one knew how many missions they could take now. Their successful experience became the template for clearing the Tiger King's cave. All the big guilds fought to imitate them. Wuxia players' learning ability was indeed strong. On the same day, there were guilds that followed Thunder Guild's configuration and method and cleared the Tiger King's cave in 10 minutes. Games were like that. Once someone cleared it, it meant that the Tiger King's cave was no longer difficult. More and more teams started to challenge the Tiger King's cave. The equipment, levels, and materials also increased. The next morning, Thunder Guild set a new record and raised the time taken to 9 minutes and 34 seconds. They were only 2 seconds away from the Nameless record. That night, TT Guild released news that they only took 9 minutes and 29 seconds to clear the normal stage of the Tiger King's cave, setting a new record for the entire server. The Wuxia server continued to set new records for the Tiger King's cave. Meanwhile, Daehan, Daewa, and other servers were not to be outdone. 9 minutes and 25 seconds, 9 minutes and 20 seconds, 9 minutes and 18 seconds. The records were set again and again. Nameless record was already far behind. In the wave of clearing the Tiger King's cave, the players' levels were also increasing rapidly. There were even people who had crossed the EXP gap and reached level 20. At the same time, Jotian released another big piece of news. Some players found a level 20 dungeon in a small cave northwest of the mass grave, underground mine. The Tiger King's cave was no longer difficult for the top players. Next, people started to challenge the underground mine. The underground mine was very narrow, but the monsters were quite dense. It was more difficult to clear the dungeon. However, the Tiger King's cave made the players more confident. With the equipment and profession levels in the Tiger King's cave, many guilds cleared the underground mine quickly. A level 20 dungeon was naturally more profitable than a level 15 dungeon. The large amount of EXP gained once again increased the players' leveling speed. A few new equipment with excellent attributes began to surface. Considering that there might be a hidden boss in the underground mine, the players were still working hard to increase the dungeon's clearing time. Currently, they had increased the clearing time to under 25 minutes. In Little Ming's live streaming channel, the popularity had dropped by 80 to 90%. People were watching Little Ming's live stream of the royal clan clearing the underground mine. Speaking of which, Little Ming, you haven't seen Nameless recently. As soon as Nameless was mentioned, the live streaming channel immediately became lively. Nameless? I almost forgot about him. I haven't heard anything about him recently. Could it be that he quit the game? Impossible. Jotian's influence has surpassed the game now. There are more and more people playing it. I don't think so. Being good in the early stages doesn't mean you can be good all the time. However, Nameless is considered a success. He became famous and earned money. It's worth it. A real man doesn't boast about his past achievements. It's a game after all. If you were lucky and encountered some opportunities, you could be good. However, look at the trading channel now. Are there any records of Mad Waves transactions? They didn't even drop a single piece of equipment. Mad God has disappeared. Nameless is the same. He was eliminated in the end. Chapter 129. In order to increase their popularity, live streaming was the most common method used by the major guilds. As one of the stronger professional teams in the country, the Friendship Guild naturally used live streaming to promote themselves. 3 days ago, they had already broken the record set by the anonymous player in the Celestial Mountain Twin Towers. The Friendship Guild had once again taken back the honor of being first in the Twin Towers. Not only that, but in just 3 days, they had pulled up the Twin Towers record by a large margin. The Celestial Towers record was maintained at the 7th floor. The Demon Subduing Towers record had been broken to the 3rd floor. This result was considered quite good in the country, but in view of Nameless' unfathomable strength, at first, everyone did not dare to lower their guard and continued to strive for higher levels. In today's live stream, Brother Tao had directly rushed to the 8th floor of the Celestial Tower, causing quite a stir in the country. The 8th floor. Brother Tao is still strong. Actually, Friendship Guild is very strong. In the previous games, when you saw Friendship Guild, you had to take a detour. Isn't that nonsense? Of course Brother Tao is strong. In the past, he was even the Asian champion of WOV's individual competition. It's just that he was suppressed by Nameless in the past, making people forget Brother Tao's true strength. In my opinion, Brother Tao might be stronger than Nameless. Nameless relied on the mythical beast, while Brother Tao relied on his true strength. That's not important. Didn't you see it in the live stream? From the 6th floor onwards, the wild monsters already have spiritual attack. The spiritual attack of the wild monsters on the 8th floor is even more terrifying. Nameless physical defense is useless no matter how high it is. The Friendship Guild's live stream also attracted the attention of a large number of guilds. Everyone knew that the level 30 main cities would once again merge into one region. The bosses who were currently dominating the various regions would finally come together and start a new competition. Only by knowing yourself and your enemy can you win 100 battles. Brother Tao's technique is indeed excellent. There are almost no mistakes in his positioning. His reaction is also very fast. For many attacks, he moved to the edge of the attack range under extreme conditions and avoided the damage. This is the strength of a professional player. This Brother Tao, after being suppressed so badly by Nameless for so long, could actually make a comeback. He's a character. After Brother Tao's solo performance, there was still the Friendship Guild's Tower Challenge. Friendship, equipment, and levels were no longer the same as before. Moreover, after the class split, the advantages of pro players were even more obvious. With perfect coordination, they managed to rush to the 4th floor and lasted for 1 minute and 38 seconds. Although they did not manage to reach the 5th floor, the strongest floor in the Asia server, they had undoubtedly entered the top ranks. After coming out of the demon subduing tower, the friendly team members could finally hold their heads high. When they saw that the Frenzied Wave Guild was organizing a tower raid, they could not help but burst into laughter. Look, the original number 1 is here. TSK, TSK, TSK. There are quite a lot of people in Wild Waves now. That's right. He even has a divine beast. He will definitely be able to easily take back the throne of first place. Of course, these words were sarcastic. Everyone in District 122 knew that there was no nameless Mad Waves. It was just a guild made up of a bunch of random players. Friendship was on a completely different level. In reality, Quan Lang could only reach the 2nd level of the Devil Subduing Tower now. That's right, where are your divine beasts? Other people's divine beasts are divine beasts. Why did they turn into dogs in your hands? Forget it, you guys don't need to raise them. We'll help you raise them. Ing Jun looked at these people coldly and snorted, if you guys want the divine beasts so much, why don't you come and snatch them? I don't need to say it. Everyone knows what you guys are afraid of. When Brother Tao heard this, his face instantly turned gloomy. Afraid? Kid, do you think we're afraid? I have already passed the 8th floor of the Celestial Execution Tower. Do you guys think I'll be afraid? Leng Noa raised her hand and stopped the group members who were about to speak. It was best not to argue with the friendly team now. At least your team leader knows his place. You guys are just a bunch of mobs. The Red High Heels said coldly, I don't want to argue with you guys. If you guys have the ability, that's your problem. If you guys get first place, you guys can just take the rewards in the future. We don't want to compete with anyone. Brother Tao sized up the Red High Heels. Many people knew about this woman's identity now. She was a newbie in film and television. She seemed to have fallen out with the company after just one film and went out to pursue her dreams. Of course, the result was self-evident. Not many people knew about her. However, it was undeniable that this woman was getting more and more beautiful. Moreover, she wasn't a brainless woman. Nameless didn't care about the guild. Under her leadership, Wild Waves actually developed quite well. Many newbies who entered the Celestial Mountain main city were willing to apply for this guild. Their total number of members had already surpassed many professional guilds. Moreover, there were more than 20 players in Wild Waves. Although they weren't professional players, they were very strong. They were definitely folk experts. Nameless aside, this guild actually had a certain level of strength. Of course, Nameless was a big reason why the guild could develop so well. Nameless brought prestige to Wild Waves and made them famous. As for this potential opponent, they definitely couldn't let it continue to develop like this. Since the legend of Nameless had fallen, it was time for the newbies to understand who was the boss of this area. Brother Tao walked up and stood in front of the Red High Heels. He raised his chin slightly and looked down at this woman. Red, I'm very unhappy with your attitude. What do you want? Very simple. Let's have a duel. At this point, the people of Wild Waves were instantly enraged. What do you mean? You, a professional player, want to duel with us amateur players? Handsome pushed Brother Tao away and stood in front of the red high heels. Brother Tao smiled slightly. What? You don't dare. I'm the leader, you're the leader too. Isn't this very fair? The people of Friendship immediately began to discuss loudly. What profession? We're all humans. We're all playing the same game. Many players put in as much time as we do. Why are they worse than us? Isn't Wild Waves the #1 guild in this area? The guild leader doesn't dare to accept the duel. If even the guild leader is so cowardly, then are you Wild Waves a bunch of cowards? The red high heels expression was uncertain. The people of Friendship finally couldn't hold it in anymore. She wasn't afraid of a duel, nor was she afraid of losing. However, she was now representing the entire Wild Waves. Wild Waves. Wild Waves my ass. Change your name to Fierce Cowards. A bunch of cowards. Trash will always be trash. They'll be in the limelight for a while, but in the end, they'll still show their true colors. Just like Nameless. The surrounding voices were incessant. Just as the red high heels took a step forward, Handsome stopped her. Leader, let me do it. He has Tiger Sob, 2 blue equipment from the underground mine, and Tiger King has 3. We have too little room to maneuver. Brother Tao's ears were very sharp. He immediately said, who do you think you are? I'm going to duel with your leader. Red, I'm asking you, do you dare to accept? Sister Noah, don't go. 10 steps away, Flower Fragrance pulled Leng Noah back. Leng Noah shook her head. I have to go. If I lose, I'll give up my position as the vice leader. Handsome, you have to lead everyone to level up in the future. Don't look down on those normal players. Noah Noah. Leng Noah ignored the others and accepted Brother Tao's duel request. Chapter 130. Friendship Bro Tao's intentions were truly sinister. Friendship Bro Tao was still broadcasting. Many people became interested when they saw that there was a duel to watch. That's the vice president of Wild Waves. She's quite good looking. Is she a streamer? Where did she get the courage to accept the duel? Bro Tao is really good at PK, that girl is also a sword spirit cultivator. Alright, there's no suspense. They're of the same class, level, equipment, and skills. None of them can compare. What's the point of fighting? In the Celestial Mountain main city, one couldn't kill anyone, but duels between players were allowed. In front of the Twin Towers, the crowd opened up a large space, leaving enough space for the 2 captains. The duel began. 3, 2, 1, after going online, Lu Chen wanted to level up, but when he thought of the Stone Gate world, he almost vomited. He had been farming nightmare spirits for the past few days. His level had increased, but he was also going crazy. He ran around the map, pulled monsters together, and killed them with a few great ravagers. After that, he repeated the cycle for a few days. There were no surprises, and the drops were the same every time. He was also numb to the thrill of leveling up. It would be strange if he didn't vomit. In the process of farming, Lu Chen was really bored. He bought the skins of the previous monsters and played with them in turn. Phantom Moon Wolf, Steelback Thorn Jackal, 3-Petal Flower Demon, but there were no nightmare spirits. It was Xiao Min who told him that nightmare spirits weren't a specific kind of creature, so they couldn't obtain bloodlines and talents. Even the fun was missing. Damn, I have enough soul essences and pure spiritual energy. I'm not farming anymore, I'm not farming anymore. Let's go home. Lu Chen's home was Benevolence Peak. After returning to the territory, Lu Chen first raised his soul source to level 2, then found that a soul source fragment could only raise it by 5%. In the past few days, most of his previous records had been broken. Originally, Lu Chen didn't care. The Tiger King's cave's tiger blood was very cheap now, so it didn't matter if he gave it away or not. The spirit-gathering pill given by the Immortal Execution Tower only added 1,000 pure spirit energy. Lu Chen farmed more than 20,000 spirit energy a day, so he didn't really care about this little bit of pure spirit energy. However, Lu Chen was still unable to find any other drop locations for the spirit source shard. I still need to make a trip to the Immortal Mountain. Lu Chen changed back into his human skin and left Ren Ai Peak. When he went down the mountain, Lu Chen saw that the three idiots were still transporting materials. The materials for the instance dungeon were almost ready. When he returned, he would create an instance dungeon. There sure are a lot of ways to do this. However, let's take things one at a time. Let's get the spiritual source shards first. The key to a duel was the control of distance, the control of skills, and most importantly, dodging skills. In Jiutian, apart from melee attacks, almost all skills had to be predicted. Cenobi's Great Ravager and Spiritual Sword Rain were both predictive skills. As for Lang Noa and Brother Tao's Divine Sword Guides the Way, they were both predictive skills. With an extremely fast sword aura, they pierced towards the opponent. It was easy to defeat monsters with skills, but it wasn't so easy to defeat people. One needed to force the opponent to move so that the final attack couldn't be dodged. Of course, although Divine Sword Guides the Way was a single target attack, its attack range was wider than a normal sword, about 2 meters. It wasn't easy to dodge Divine Sword Guides the Way. Lang Noa's control, awareness, and predictive skills were all very good. Her level and equipment were inferior, so she didn't dare to engage in melee attacks. Both sides used skills to suppress the opponent. The two sides fought a few rounds, and it was a back-and-forth battle. 10 steps. One man excitedly pulled on Annotated Handsome's arm. Brother Handsome, Sister Noa played very well. Blossoming Zhixiang pouted and snorted. Sister Noa has also been practicing her skills. In the future, when we rehearse, our Sister Noa can do what others can't. This is an advantage. However, Annotated Handsome shook his head. Friendship didn't give it its all. What? 10 steps looked at Annotated Handsome strangely. It can't be. I think Sister Noa's movements are very good. It's not that easy to hit Sister Noa. Annotated Handsome shook his head. Noa's movements are indeed good, but her weakness is her lack of experience. In the eyes of professional players, these movements are all expected. Handsome also said, that's right. The predictive skills you guys often talk about are just normal movements. Real professional players need to be able to predict your predictive skills. Friendship's skill is indeed not bad. I could see it in the Celestial Execution Tower. This level of movement shouldn't be able to fool him. 10 steps frowned. So, Brother Handsome means, he's playing with Sister Noa. Annotated Handsome didn't answer. It was already a tacit agreement. Although Lang Noa worked very hard and her talent was also very good, as Annotated Handsome said, what she lacked was experience. It wasn't experience from fighting monsters, but PK experience. In other words, Lang Noa's movements were still at the amateur level. She hadn't been tempered by real competition. As expected, after friendship Brother Tao dodged Lang Noa's attack, he smiled. Good, not bad. Unfortunately, I don't want to play with you anymore. A divine sword guides the way shot out from Brother Tao's longsword. Lang Noa dodged it with a step. Just as she landed, another divine sword guides the way smashed into Lang Noa's body. Minus 313, physical attack, minus 54, magic attack. That position was actually hit. 10 steps said in shock. Was this the awareness of a professional player? Accurately calculating the direction you would dodge in next, accurately calculating the time of the second attack, and the distance you would move in that time. Prediction skills were used the same as directional skills. They were accurate and without error. When experts exchanged blows, they would never give the opponent any chance to breathe. Brother Tao's attack succeeded. He turned around and shot out another sword energy. Leng Noa hurriedly stabilized her body. Don't panic, don't panic. I can dodge this attack. I can't let him lead me into his attack rhythm. Leng Noa quickly took a step back to buy herself some time to react. Then, she quickly dodged. Seeing that she was about to dodge the attack, Brother Tao pinched his fingers together. The sword energy suddenly turned around and went straight for Leng Noa. What? It's the second stage of the Divine Sword guides the way. He actually learned the second stage of the Divine Sword guides the way. This guy is too sneaky. He's been hiding it all this time. He only took it out now. Facing the sudden second attack, Leng Noa had no way of dodging and was hit again. It wasn't over yet. The third sword energy rushed over. This time, Leng Noa didn't know how to dodge it. How could she dodge the second change of direction? 10,000 swords attack. 10,000 swords attack could be used as an AoE skill. However, it could also be used as a single target skill. Multiple flying swords would attack a random enemy in front of them. When there was only one enemy in front of them, this skill would become a terrifying single target skill with high explosive power. Sorry, you're too trashy. Brother Tao smirked. Leng Noa, who only had half of her health left, was attacked by 7 flying swords in a row. In an instant, her health bar was depleted and she fell to the ground. Brother Tao turned around and looked at the camera of the group member in charge of the live broadcast. He said loudly, "Sorry, this battle is between the leader of Friendship and the leader of Wild Waves. Friendship is the winner. Sister Noa." 10 steps and the others rushed over to help Leng Noa up. Leng Noa's eyes reddened. She stood up immediately. "Why do you and I have to fight in the name of the guild? I'm leaving Wild Waves now. So, in this battle, you've won against me. It doesn't mean that Friendship has won against Wild Waves." "Oh. You have such a personality." Brother Tao raised his eyebrows and looked at the red high heels with great interest. Jyotian guilds weren't easy to leave. Once you leave, you'll never be able to join the guild again. Wild Waves had always been managed by this woman. It was a good thing that she was forced to leave Wild Waves. Soon, Wild Waves would only exist in name. Then why don't you leave the guild? Leng Noa took a deep breath and looked back at the members of Wild Waves. Perhaps many people joined Wild Waves for the sake of being nameless. However, after a few days, they would know that Wild Waves didn't mean being nameless. The reason why many people chose to stay in such an amateur team was because of the vice president. She wasn't the strongest. She always had a cold face to others. However, she was always the most attentive to her members. Without Sister Noa, there wouldn't be a Wild Waves guild with more than 300 members today. "Sister Noa, don't go," Leng Noa lowered her head. She held back her tears and said, "I've learned a lot here. Thank you, everyone. I don't want the name Wild Waves to be insulted. So, I have to go. Brother Ing Jun, you'll be the vice president in the future. Also, I'll give you the Divine Beast. The leader gave it to Wild Waves, not to me." Noa Noa. Ing Jun looked at Leng Noa with heartache. However, at this time, perhaps Leng Noa's actions were the most rational. The price of a Divine Beast, 1 million? 10 million? The market couldn't give an answer because no one was selling the Divine Beast. However, the vice president didn't take it for herself. This was enough to show what kind of person she was. Her hard work was obvious to everyone. At this time, Ing Jun only hated that his equipment was too bad and his profession level was too low. He couldn't protect wild waves and Noa Noa. Everyone, work hard. Goodbye. Lang Noa said and turned to leave. At this time, a familiar yet strange voice suddenly sounded. Did I agree to let you leave? Hearing this voice, everyone looked in the direction of the voice in shock. Chapter 131. When she saw this person, Lang Noa's eyes became misty. If there was one person in Mad Waves who could make her stay, it would be him. Guild Leader Nameless. Without the guild leader's permission, the vice guild leader wanted to leave the guild. That was AWOL. Even though his blue equipment and purple weapons were not that eye-catching, the moment he appeared, the entire Celestial Mountain main city almost exploded. It's Nameless. He's back. Nameless is back. What? He's Nameless. The Nameless who made the Korean server beg for mercy. Some of the newbies had only heard of the legend and had never seen him in person. Nonsense, of course it's him. There are many people who hide their IDs, but who dares to call themselves Nameless? Nameless no longer meant, no name. Instead, it had become a unique ID that no one could imitate, and no one dared to imitate. In front of Lu Chen, the players spontaneously opened up a path. Lu Chen slowly walked into the center of the arena. He glanced at Friendship and then walked in front of the red high heels. Don't bully me anymore. These 4 simple words caused the grievances in Lang Noa's heart to overflow. This guy was so annoying. He hit the nail on the head. During this period of time, he, as the guild leader, only knew how to be a hands-off boss. Mad Waves was forced to this point and he did not even care. He let her raise the divine beast, but the resources needed to raise a divine beast were too much, and he did not care. If he was her boyfriend, she would definitely teach him a lesson. Unfortunately, she and Nameless were not that close. Lang Noa turned her face to the side and wiped her eyes while she was combing her hair. Guild leader, you're back. This small action did not escape Lu Chen's eyes. This girl was quite stubborn. Yeah, I'm planning to come back and challenge the Celestial Slayer Tower. Lu Chen said, I just happened to see, guild leader, I'm sorry. I've embarrassed the guild. Lu Chen smiled. I'm the one who should be apologizing. I'm the one who brought you all this trouble, but you're the only one who has to bear the responsibility, leader. Lang Noa could barely hold back the tears in her eyes. This damned game, did it have to be so realistic? Even her emotions could be expressed so clearly after her brain was connected. Lu Chen looked at the red-eyed Lang Noa and smiled gently. Don't worry, I will make them pay you back 100 times over. Slowly turning his head, the gentleness in Lu Chen's eyes had disappeared, leaving only a frightening coldness. Lu Chen slowly opened his mouth, pausing after every word, and announced loudly, Today, the Friendship Guild will either get out of this server, or I will flatten your guild. With a boom, the entire scene exploded. All the major broadcast rooms that were broadcasting the Friendship Tower Challenge were immediately flooded with bullet screen comments. Fuck, this is too crazy. Is what you said about flattening the guild true? Ask Friendship to get out of our server. Flatten the guild. Motherfucker, how arrogant. Is the guild war going to be brought forward? Or is Brother Nameless going to challenge the entire Friendship Guild? Where are the people who said that Nameless can't do it? The God of War is indeed the God of War. Of course, not everyone admired Nameless so much. What are you shouting for, who doesn't know how to shoot their mouth off? Brainless fans, look at your Wargood's equipment, it's no longer the best. Does he still think he's the Nameless from before? One step behind, one step behind. He doesn't have the strength anymore. In the field, the Friendship Guild's people were furious. Nameless, don't be too arrogant. You want us to leave the server, impossible. It's already good enough that you Wild Waves have a few people who can fight. Do you think we'll be afraid of you just because of one sentence? Brother Friendship Wave looked coldly at Nameless. Nameless' equipment was still the same set, not updated at all. The rumors on the internet said that Nameless hadn't been online for more than a week because he was on a business trip or something. It might be true. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to not change any equipment. More than a week ago, Brother Tao didn't dare to provoke Nameless. However, for more than a week, they had been leveling up every day, fighting dungeons, farming equipment, and leveling up their profession. He was no longer the same person as before. The 8th floor of the Celestial Execution Tower was the best proof. If Nameless was still so powerful, how could he watch him occupy the first place of the Celestial Execution Tower for so long? Thinking of this, Brother Tao became more and more confident. Nameless, stop pretending. Do you think it's still 10 days ago? You think we'll obediently leave the server after shouting a few words? You did help Wuxia's players, but we still haven't snatched your mythical beast. Our friendship has already given you face. But a game is a game, after all. You can't just show off once and all the players have to give in to you. Now that you're riding on our necks, it's natural for us to resist. Brother Tao was also cunning. With just a few words, he glossed over Nameless' previous contributions and even turned the tables. This way, friendship would be justified, lest some players would say that they were treacherous. Nameless sneered. You're right. It's indeed not 10 days ago. Friendship was not the friendship of the past. Was he, Lu Chen, still the same Lu Chen as before? You said that I'm riding on your necks, so you're saying that it's right for you, a leader, to bully my vice leader, and it's right for you, a professional player, to bully an amateur player? Also, you won't allow me, the leader, to help my people get back at you? What, are you used to bullying the weak? You're really good at inverting right and wrong. It's just a game. Can you be more shameless? Why don't you go to the novice area to duel and tell everyone that your friendship is the strongest? Also, you said you're giving me face. First of all, I didn't say you're giving me face. Don't flatter yourself. Second of all, you don't seem to be giving anyone face. Why don't you fight for the divine beast? Aren't you afraid of being scolded for being a bunch of ungrateful bastards? Even so, didn't you already have people eyeing the divine beast? If I didn't come, I guess your next step would be to snatch the divine beast. Your friendship guild is worthy of being called the second son of friendship. You should change your name to the ungrateful retarded guild. Lu Chen had been beaten up by society, and his mouth was not easy to deal with. He fired a machine gun and directly scolded Qin Yi to the point that he was full of dog blood. Friendship Brother Tao's face turned red and purple. After a long time, he said angrily, Nameless, cut the crap. Aren't you awesome? Let me see how awesome your trashy equipment is. Do you dare to accept my challenge? Lu Chen snorted. Sorry, you're really not worthy of my attention. I've already said, either you leave the server or I'll flatten your guild. Arrogant. Fine, flatten our guild, I'll personally smash your mouth today. All members of the Friendship Guild, gather at the plains outside the Celestial Mountain main city. We'll teach Wild Waves a lesson. 20 minutes later, the two major guilds in District 122 were facing each other in the Celestial Mountain main city. The number of players around them was even more terrifying, surrounding the entire battlefield. The major live stream rooms quickly discovered this theme and logged into District 122 to broadcast the battle live. Jiutian had not opened up official guild wars yet, but the two sides of this battle had made a new agreement. Whoever lost would get lost. This was a battle more intense than a guild war. Moreover, it was a battle between two famous guilds in the country. For a moment, the number of viewers skyrocketed. When the two sides faced each other, it seemed that one could tell who was better just by looking at their equipment. On the Friendship Guild side, their equipment was obviously better. Moreover, their team was organized. It was obvious that they were an experienced professional team. On the other hand, on Wild Wave's side, the players stood together casually as if there was no organization. Wild Waves, get out of this district if you lose. Brother Tao sneered. Our friendship guild will let you make the first move. High heels, 10 steps, floral fragrance, handsome, chic and the other main guilds were about to step forward, but Nameless waved her hand. What are you guys doing? A team fight? 10 steps asked curiously. Brother Nameless, don't worry. Whether we win or lose, we'll give it our all. Lu Chen smiled and shook his head. It seemed that he did not make it clear, which was why everyone misunderstood. No wonder they had been notifying their team members just now. These people were all members of Wild Waves. Lu Chen could not stop them from watching. In the end, they thought that it was a team fight. Just watch. I alone am enough, Nameless said calmly. Today, I want them to understand one thing. As Lu Chen spoke, he pulled out 2 tiger sobs and twirled them around his hands. You can't touch my people. Chapter 132. When the members of the Friendship Guild saw Nameless walk out alone, Brother Tao said angrily, Nameless, you're too arrogant. Cut the crap. If you can beat me, you win. Lu Chen snorted. I don't want to waste time. Come at me together. Brother Tao's face turned red. Let's go together. How arrogant is this guy? Okay, you said it. We're not bullying you with numbers. Brothers, Nameless is no longer the Nameless of the past. Don't be afraid. Kill him. The members of the Friendship Guild hated Nameless all the way back to the first time Nameless challenged the tower. Now that they had a chance to take revenge, they were all fired up. Brother Tao is right. You can tell just by looking at his equipment. He's already outdated. He's no longer a war god. Let me kill this war god with my own hands and become famous. I've seen arrogant people, but I've never seen someone as arrogant as him. Brothers, let's make Nameless and trash like Wild Waves disappear together. Charge. The members of the Friendship Guild were all fired up. They looked at Nameless like hungry beasts seeing their prey. More than 200 professional players rushed toward Nameless. Leader. Wild Waves and the others saw this scene and their hearts were in their throats. It wasn't a week ago anymore. Even if their leader's physical defense was high, now that all the major professions had developed, many of their attacks had spiritual attacks. Their leader's equipment only added 24 spiritual defense in total. No matter how strong he was, no matter how he moved, he couldn't block more than 200 people from the Friendship Guild. Moreover, they were professional players. Hua Luo pulled the sleeves of her high heels tightly. Her eyes were wide open. She was so nervous that she didn't know what to do. Sister Noah, the leader, Leng Noah was also panicking. Was it because the leader hadn't come online for a long time that everyone in the country's server had improved so much? However, this was the leader's order. She could only pray. Brother Nameless, don't lose. Seeing the enemy army rushing over, Lu Chen's lips curled up. These 200 people were no different from a few kittens to him. When he was in the Stone Gate world, a wave of elite spirits had to pull over 1,000, which was several times more than this. It was true that he didn't have any spiritual defenses, but did that matter? Could their spiritual defense be higher than 1,000 nightmare spirits? The method to resolve the spiritual defense was very simple. Lu Chen's gaze gradually turned cold. He slowly raised the 2 tiger tears in front of him. Tiger's roar. He activated his full spiritual attack mode. Storing power. 3 seconds had passed, but Lu Chen had yet to activate his skill. People weren't monsters. Although he could hit them at this distance, a professional player's reaction speed might be able to dodge Lu Chen's attack. He didn't want to give the person who had feelings for him a chance to react, so he had to be patient, patient. Look, John Doe hasn't moved yet. He won't be trampled to death, will he? He doesn't even move. He wouldn't want to fight head-on, would he? Nameless, can't you see that some of the other players have better equipment than him? Looks like I really haven't been online for a long time. I don't even understand the new equipment. It's over. The legend of the God of War is going to be ended by friendship. Sigh, seeing this, Handsome and Sheik looked at each other. The two of them had a tacit understanding and shook their heads helplessly at the same time. 10 Steps happened to see this scene. His heart tightened. Handsome bro, do you think the captain can win? Handsome was depressed. He shook his head. Looking at it now, he can't win. The key to fighting one against many is exquisite movement, accurate control of the distance to the millimeter, and perfect release of skills. You have to maintain a distance from the opponent's main force and form a 1v1 situation in the local area to quickly finish off the opponent. However, Nameless actually wants to fight head-on with so many people. He's obviously overestimating himself. Handsome and Sheik were former professional players in esports games. If even they said so, then high heels and flowers fell. 10 Steps and the others suddenly felt a chill in their hearts. The captain was going to lose. This battle had attracted the attention of many teams, including the TT Guild. Li Chuning stared at the live broadcast. She didn't know why, but her heart was in a mess for this strange yet familiar man. Lin Sun and the others all said that Nameless was going to lose this time. No one was optimistic about the former God of War anymore. Li Chuning looked sadly at the lonely figure. Nameless, are you going to lose? That's impossible, right? Friendship's people were already not far from Nameless. For some skills, this distance was not easy to dodge. However, the interesting thing was that Friendship's people were not satisfied. They still wanted to get closer. Nameless God of War was known to everyone. As a professional player, they naturally took this factor into consideration. Therefore, they needed to get closer before they could attack. And this was exactly what Lu Chen wanted to see. In the blink of an eye, Friendship's people were close enough. The melee units were still closing in quickly, trying to force Nameless to move. The ranged units were already preparing their skills. Nameless, today I'm going to blast you to smithereens and avenge my previous humiliation. Brother Tao roared. At this moment, Lu Chen, who had been motionless all this time, spoke. Sorry, you're not qualified. Great Ravager sweep. As soon as he finished speaking, a huge sword energy that was more than 10 meters long swept out horizontally, shooting towards Friendship's people. It was true that the Great Ravager sweep was a yellow-grade technique, but there were still differences between yellow-grade techniques. One was a skill from a super-strong boss, while the other was a skill that could be learned by finding a professional trainer and spending some materials. It was obvious which was stronger and which was weaker. The moment the sword energy appeared, all the big broadcast rooms exploded. Fuck. What is that? Fuck, what a fierce sword energy. A sword energy that was more than 10 meters long. Immortal sword guides the way was like child's play in front of it. Great Ravager sweep. This isn't a skill taught by the Immortal Mountain's professional trainer. Could it be, dropped? All the players who were watching the battle were shocked as if they were in the same situation. This strand of sword chi was like a thunderbolt, and it cut through all obstacles as it shot out violently. The might contained within it already caused one to shudder with fear. What was even more frightening was that this sword energy almost covered half of the battlefield. It can't be. This is a fucking group attack skill. Oh my god, I can't even describe it. A player who looked like a high school student faintly recited a poem. That's because you're uncultured. It really has the aura of a sword energy that can sweep across 30,000 miles, a sword that can chill 19 continents. Therefore, it was better to read more books. Otherwise, when seeing such a scene, some people could only say, "Fuck, that's awesome," while others could only recite a poem. Friendship's brother Tao was indeed a professional player. In the face of the sudden sword energy, he did not panic. Quickly moved to the right. For this kind of skill, it's already his limit that he can use it once. If he survives, we'll be the ones to torture him. However, before Brother Tao finished speaking, the purple tiger whip in Nameless' hands was like a dancing purple light, waving again and again. The second sword energy hit half of Friendship's people. 1106. More than 200 numbers left everyone dumbfounded. Fuck, what kind of group attack skill is this? One sword attack and it's over 1,000 damage. Chapter 133. The second sword energy directly reduced half of the Friendship's HP, causing everyone to break out in cold sweat. However, Obelisk's sweep was not over yet. The third sword energy swept across the battlefield. The Friendship's HP dropped by a large chunk. The fourth, fifth, and sixth sword energy followed closely behind, covering the entire battlefield. Sixth sword energy, the total damage had reached 7,000. More than half of the Friendship's people had already fallen. Only a few dozen people with luxurious equipment and excellent skills were left. At this moment, the eighth sword energy appeared out of nowhere. Fuck. It's not over. Not good, we can't dodge it. Another dozen people died. When he saw the ninth sword energy, Brother Tao, who had low HP, suddenly froze and stopped dodging. He looked at the shocking sword energy in a daze, but Brother Tao's gaze pierced through the sword energy and looked at that person. Wrong, we were all wrong. Nameless didn't disappear, he just went to a stronger world. Nameless had disappeared for more than a week. The first few days were fine, but in the later days, people didn't see Nameless for a long time, and their own strength increased by leaps and bounds. Gradually, some people thought that they had caught up to the former war god. However, when Nameless returned, he told everyone with an even more exaggerated strength that not only did they not catch up to Nameless, they were even left behind. Wuxia war god. Wuxia war god. Brother Tao smiled dejectedly. He used to be envious of this title, even jealous, but at this moment, he had to admit one thing. Not everyone was worthy of this title. The sword energy passed through his body, and Brother Tao fell to the ground as expected. Perhaps, along with his body, his fighting spirit also fell. The 10th sword energy cleared the battlefield. After the 10th sword energy, only one person was left standing, and that was Nameless. Was it over after clearing the battlefield? Wrong. The 11th sword energy, the 12th sword energy, the 13th sword energy, until the 36th sword energy, Nameless spun Tiger Whip and put it away. The battle was over, and Lu Chen was slightly puzzled. Where were the cheers? The cheers? The cheers? Although he didn't care about these things, Mad Waves should at least be happy, right? There were so many people in the audience, but there was no sound at all. He turned his head curiously, only to find that all the spectating players, including Wild Waves, were petrified. Friendship's players were very strong. Nameless had to use 10 blade auras to clear 4,000 to 5,000 HP. However, so what? Nameless told everyone that 10 flashes of sword chi was far from his limit. He could destroy Friendship 3.5 times. After a long time, Lin Sun raised his head and looked at his companions in disbelief. This fellow is actually able to release 36 such powerful sword chi. Are you whipping a corpse? Old Peng took a deep breath and shook his head. With Nameless' personality, he shouldn't be interested in whipping corpses. Besides, other than the first 10 sword chis, the other 26 sword chis were all aimed at the air. There's no such thing as whipping corpses. Lin Sun asked in confusion, then why did he release the remaining 26 sword chis? After all, old Peng was old. His gaming skills weren't high, but he was able to become TT's team manager. Naturally, he had a good eye for people. Lin Sun, don't you understand? Show off. Does he need to show off? To him, showing off is the easiest thing to do. Then why? Old Peng took a deep breath and said, Jiutian has endless opportunities. Nameless must have encountered some great opportunity. However, what I want to tell you is that the scariest thing about this person isn't his strength. The scariest thing about him is that he's too meticulous. Previously, when faced with the charge of more than 200 people, he didn't release his sword chi. This requires extraordinary concentration. In a decisive battle, the distribution of each sword chi is extremely particular. Otherwise, how could 10 sword chis be enough to clear friendship? Take you guys as an example. If an amateur player were to use obelisk on you, under the same damage, I estimate that your survival rate would be more than 80%. I believe that friendship wouldn't be much worse than yours. Therefore, his prediction, timing, and mental fortitude are all top-notch. Lastly, why did he use the extra 26 sword chis? The reason is simple. I'll summarize it in one sentence. Old Peng deliberately paused and looked at everyone. The reason why he kept them in suspense and piqued everyone's curiosity was to tell them that this person must be taken seriously. Everyone also looked at Old Peng curiously. Old Peng then said, 10 sword chis to clear the field. 36 sword chis, to establish dominance. From now on, those who want to touch wild waves should at least think carefully about whether they really want to provoke such a monster. Lu Chen was a little disappointed. There were no cheers or screams. He wondered if the 36 sword chis had made some people understand that wild waves should not be touched casually. However, he was not in the mood to stand here with this group of people in a daze. He still had important things to do. Shaking his head, Lu Chen walked alone to the Twin Towers. Since he was already here today, he might as well take down the demon-subduing tower and give the soul-gathering pills to Nuanyuan and the others. He did not expect that this guild that he did not take seriously at all would develop quite well. Wild Waves was just a guild that Lu Chen casually created to deal with the NPCs. However, to others, Wild Waves might mean more. As the guild leader, he had to do something. A few minutes after Lu Chen left, the thousands of players in front of the main city gate of the Celestial Mountain woke up with a start. Oh my God! Just now. What happened? This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. 36 sword chis, did I count wrongly? One sword chi dealt 1100 damage, a total of 37,600 spiritual attack damage. The worst thing is that this is a fucking AoE skill. Could this be Brother Nameless' true strength? Isn't this too terrifying? 1 against 100, and he was unscathed and insta-killed. As expected of Hua Xia's #1 god of war. I'm sincerely convinced this time. Where's Brother Nameless? Brother Nameless left again. Could it be that all experts hide their achievements and fame so deeply? Lang Noa shook her head to make sure that the scene just now was not an illusion. From everyone's similar expressions, it did not seem like a dream just now, so, the guild leader was not lying. He did it. With his own strength, he flattened the Friendship Guild. When he walked over, he asked softly, were you bullied? He was as gentle as a couple, like a brother, like a father, making people have the urge to jump into his arms and cry. And when facing the enemy, he argued with reason and was cold and heartless, making people fearful. During the battle, he was unimaginably calm. His sword was extremely accurate, and his sword chi was everywhere, blocking all escape routes. Even professional players could not avoid it. And the terrifying scene of the 36 sword chis left behind at the end made everyone who was disrespectful shut up. It was really terrible. She did not know why her heart was beating so fast. That guy, Where's the guild leader? Red High Heels looked around curiously, but that person's shadow was nowhere to be seen. He left again. Lang Noa frowned. How could this guy be like this? At this moment, someone in the crowd exclaimed, "Fuck, everyone look, Brother Nameless is going to challenge the Twin Towers. He'll definitely break the Friendship Guild's record." 10 Steps raised his head and looked at the challenge record on the big screen. He took a deep breath, and the depression in his heart had long been swept away. Smiling slightly, 10 Steps said proudly, "Of course, but you're all wrong. He's not going to break anyone's record. The guild leader is just going to take back what belongs to him." Chapter 134. First floor of the Celestial Execution Tower. Lu Chen was surrounded by a group of small monsters, but he was unscathed. It's annoying to be bothered by these towers every day. I'll try a few more levels this time so that I don't have to come here often. The monsters in the Celestial Execution Tower were very dense, but from Lu Chen's point of view, the denser the better. Great Ravager Sweep. Outside the Celestial Mountain main city, people were staring at the time of the anonymous player. Anonymous player time, 00009, however, suddenly, the time froze at 10 seconds. Why did the time stop? It's impossible that he couldn't pass the first floor, but the time stopped there. It can't be that Nameless Bro cleared all the monsters, right? This person also said it unintentionally, but the speaker didn't mean it, but the listener took it seriously. That's right, Nameless Bro had that group attack skill, so it was possible that he cleared all the monsters. Damn, he really cleared all the cheats. To be able to clear all the monsters in the Celestial Execution Tower, Nameless Bro is definitely the first person in the entire server. Second floor, time. 10 seconds. Third floor, time. 9 seconds. Fourth floor, time 9 seconds. I'm speechless. People are competing to see who can last the longest in the Celestial Execution Tower, the longer the better. In the end, Nameless Bro is playing the racing mode, and the time is getting shorter and shorter. 8th floor, time 33 seconds. A female player asked her teammate in fear, "Brother Nameless, is this the end? Or is this the end?" The handsome boy next to her seemed to be the girl's boyfriend. At this time, he touched his nose and said hesitantly, "This. I can't tell, but Nameless Bro is so strong, maybe he cleared all the monsters." Nameless Bro cleared the Celestial Execution Tower, and everyone was stunned by the timer. In the various broadcast rooms, many streamers were broadcasting the Twin Towers in Area 122. Winchim supported her chin and said with anticipation, "It's the 8th floor. The current highest record in the Wuxia server is the 9th floor. What kind of record can Nameless Bro set?" Winchim could be considered an expert, so she could naturally tell that Nameless would not stop at the 8th floor. All of a sudden, Feng Lingzi had an idea and said to her fans, "There's no point in just watching. How about this, let's place a bet. I'll make a quiz and everyone can place their bets." Very quickly, Winchim created a betting system. The starting point was the 10th floor, and there were even higher options, all the way to the 15th floor. When it came to betting, the fans immediately became excited. "Feng Ling, you actually reached the 15th floor. The 15th floor is too difficult." That's right, the Immortal Execution Tower's difficulty increases at a terrifying rate. The first few floors can be cleared with a bit of equipment, but from the 4th floor onwards, the difficulty increases dramatically. I don't know how many professional players have been blocked on the 9th floor. The difference of one floor often determines the first and second place. Cut the crap and place your bets. I'll bet 12% on Nameless. Don't be too optimistic. Nameless does have high spiritual attack, but once he encounters a monster with high spiritual defense, he won't be able to pass. Feng Lingzi did not care about the discussion inside and urged, "You have 5 minutes to place your bets. Everyone, place your bets quickly. The person who gets the closest will win the prize pool." The number of people placing bets on the options kept increasing, mainly on the 11th, 12th, 10th, and 13th floors. The number of people placing bets on them gradually decreased. Feng Lingzi's playstyle immediately attracted many players to the live stream. Since they were all watching the live stream, it was naturally more interesting to be able to play while watching. Lin Sun looked at Li Qiuning and smiled. "Qiuning, are you betting?" Of course, of course. Who knows, I might even win some money." Why would a rich lady like Li Qiuning care about that little bit of money? She charged 2,000 renminbi on the spot and looked at the various guesses. In the end, she directly placed 2,000 renminbi TBD. "I'll bet 15. "No way, didn't you see me clearing the 9th floor? My attack is already very high," Lin Sun said. "You are you, brother Nameless is nameless." Li Qiuning was somewhat rebellious in her bones. Coupled with her identity, she did not show any mercy to a top expert like Lin Sun. Lin Sun also knew Qiuning's temper. He could only smile. "Nameless is strong, but if you bet 15, you'll definitely lose. Look, no one is betting 15. I'll bet 2. Lin Sun's account had more than 1,000 TBD. He took out 500 renminbi and looked left and right. In the end, he chose the 13th floor, which had fewer people. "I'll show you what professional foresight is." "Humph, who's afraid of who? Let's wait and see." On the 10th floor, Lu Chen's time suddenly increased. He used a full 2 minutes and 22 seconds. Seeing this time, the players who bet on the 11th floor were immediately overjoyed. "Huh, my foresight is still accurate. Nameless is probably on the 11th floor. The 10th floor took more than 2 minutes. The 11th floor is probably the limit. I'm making money, I'm making money. Oh yeah." On the 11th floor, the stopwatch was ticking, affecting the hearts of many players. 2 minutes, 2 minutes and 10 seconds, 2 minutes and 20 seconds, Nameless bro, hang in there. I bet on the 12th floor. Come on. He can actually last so long. Strange, he only used 2 minutes on the 11th floor. How can he last for 2 minutes on the 12th floor? It doesn't make sense. 2 minutes and 47 seconds later, Nameless bro entered the 12th floor. Damn, Nameless bro is awesome. He's on the 12th floor. Haha, where's the guy who was talking about making money? I'm sorry, your money is gone. The 12th floor should be the limit. I bet 20. There aren't many people who bet on the 12th floor. It should be at least double. Coincidentally, Nameless bro used 3 minutes to enter the 13th floor this time. Nameless bro entered the 13th floor. Lin Sun looked at Li Qiuning proudly. How is it? Are you convinced? This is the foresight of a professional player. Come on, you didn't win. Didn't Nameless bro enter the 13th floor? Li Qiuning said unconvinced. Lin Sun smiled at Li Qiuning's stubbornness. Can't you see? Previously, John Doe was able to enter the next floor in advance, which means that he cleared the monsters. However, when he reached the 12th floor, he took 3 minutes, which means that he can no longer clear the monsters on the 12th floor. You're right. Nameless did make it through the 12th floor. However, you have to understand that the reason Nameless could pass the previous levels was because he could clear the monsters. Otherwise, if he couldn't clear the monsters, he would be attacked by a large number of monsters. No one can withstand that. Nameless can't clear the monsters now. According to the increasing difficulty of the Celestial Execution Tower, the 13th floor must be very scary. He probably can't make it through. Lin Sun's analysis was very pertinent. He also said a lot of things that normal players couldn't see. Li Qiuning was a little shaken. Could it be that nameless bro would really stop at the 13th floor? Section 122, 13th floor of the Celestial Execution Tower. Lu Chen was busy picking up money. Damn, more than 1 silver per monster. No, this can't be wasted. In the previous levels, Lu Chen was too lazy to pick up money. After all, each monster only dropped a few hundred copper coins. However, it was different now. Each monster dropped more than 1 silver coin. If he still didn't pick it up, he would be stupid. Chapter 135. The time spent picking up money was always short. In the blink of an eye, 3 minutes had passed. Lu Chen was a little hesitant. He still had to go to the demon-subduing tower later. He couldn't spend the whole day in the Twin Towers. On the other hand, Lu Chen was also greedy. Let's go to the next floor. There'll be more drops there. Player, anonymous player, level, 13th floor, time used, 00300, anonymous player entered the 14th floor, time used, 00003. As soon as the news came out, the livestream was filled with cries and cheers. Damn, nameless bro actually made it through. Damn, he's too strong. It's already the 13th floor. Is there an end to it? Oh yeah, I bet on the 14th floor. Huh, all your money is mine. Nameless bro is the best. Haha, he managed to get to the 14th floor with so few people. Sigh, I accidentally made a lot of money. This is so boring. Li Qiuning looked at Lin Sun with a smile. Professional players have good taste. Just now, Lin Sun was still speaking eloquently, but now that guy was scratching his head and frowning. Impossible, how could I be wrong? No way, brother John Doe didn't do his best to win the friendship before. 3 minutes later, Nameless entered the 15th floor. At this floor, the fans who had placed their bets were no longer focused on whether they could get the prize money at the end. Nameless bro had already proven his strength in the previous battle. Because of that, Fanglingzi had raised the upper limit to 15. This was already an incredible result. However, Nameless bro really made it to the 15th floor. Oh my god, Nameless bro really made it to the 15th floor. Fanglingzi couldn't believe it herself. How did he do it? Nameless bro has already left everyone in the dust. Bro, give us a way out. Stop. Damn, the other servers are already talking about Nameless bro's tower. The funny thing is, they're saying that the live stream is fake. To be honest, if I was in the other servers, I wouldn't believe it either. 3 minutes later, Nameless bro entered the 16th floor. All the streamers were going crazy. This. 16th floor, guys, my god, Nameless is a monster. I simply can't imagine what kind of battle is going on in the Immortal Slaying Tower right now. What kind of maneuvers are needed to reach the 16th floor? Brother Nameless' equipment doesn't seem to be the best. This means that his defense is about the same as some of the top players in the local guilds. He might even be weaker than some of the top players. He doesn't even have a single piece of equipment from the underground mine. How did he do it? To be frank, I've been tortured to the point of insanity by Nameless bro. Big brother, come out quickly. I beg you. You've already stepped on my pride again and again. Save me. Time ticked by, and everyone had already forgotten what the stakes were. What they really wanted to know was the limit. Where is the Nameless limit? Nameless, to what extent do you want to torture him? 3 minutes later, the answer was still not revealed. Nameless entered the 17th floor. Pfft. I'm going to vomit blood. Nameless bro, are you still going to let others play? The other guilds in the 122nd district are already crying in front of the Celestial Mountain. How are we going to break through the 17th floor? At this time, a player's words suddenly attracted the attention of many. Who knows what level Nameless Bro is? That's right, what level is Nameless Bro? Nameless Bro had been hiding his information, so no one knew his level. I don't think anyone knows. When he fought Friendship, he didn't lose any health. Oh my god, I can't stay calm anymore. Not only did he fight 200 people, he didn't even lose any health. Last time, when he fought Daehan, his health was also forcefully deducted and his health was not shown. Alright, I don't have the right to know Nameless Bro's level. Looks like there's going to be another big mystery in Jotun. The first one is the spirit player Mad God. No one has seen this player before. The second one is Nameless Bro's level. No one knows Nameless Bro's level. I just want Nameless Bro to come out quickly. This result is already unbeatable. Don't crush my weak little heart, 18th floor, 19th floor, 20th floor. On the 20th floor, in front of the Celestial Slayer Tower, a golden light flashed, and Nameless Bro finally came out. As soon as he came out, Nameless Bro shook his head and said to himself, "Oh my god, I'm still too weak. The monsters on the 20th floor are so strong. I can't beat them." Outside the tower, thousands of players quietly watched him show off. The newbies did not dare to say anything. When they saw Nameless Bro enter the Demon Slayer Tower, the crowd exploded. What the fuck, is that even human? Nameless Bro said he's too weak. Does the master chef sell tofu? I just want to bang my head against the wall and die. What the fuck, the first thing he said was the 20th floor. The monsters below the 20th floor are embarrassing. They don't even deserve to be mentioned by Nameless Bro. I don't want to say anything. Nameless Bro must have put in unimaginable effort to be so strong. I don't want to watch the Demon Slayer Tower anymore. I'm afraid my heart won't be able to take it. Don't stop me, I'm going to level up. Yeah, we're only seeing the time in the tower jumping quickly. What we don't know is that Nameless Bro is trying his best to create a miracle. Other people's gains are based on their hard work. I have to work hard too. In the live stream, the atmosphere suddenly changed. For some reason, the group of people imagined a figure who leveled up day and night. So boring. Lu Chen sighed. He was sitting in the middle of a group of monsters, being tickled by a group of monsters. Although the Demon Slayer Tower also dropped money, Lu Chen really did not want to pick it up. It was very annoying to loot the corpses one by one. This was only the 3rd floor of the Demon Slayer Tower, and it would not drop much money. He might as well not pick it up. As for fighting monsters, Lu Chen was too lazy to do so. It was time to take a break. Fortunately, the tiger monsters were attacking him ferociously. Lu Chen was also annoyed. Although he did not lose HP, his equipment would lose durability. He did not want to go to the Celestial Mountain to repair for a bit of durability. Xiao Min, possess me and then give me invisibility. Come out and tank. Okay, boss. After possessing, Lu Chen could actively gain invisibility. Although it was only for 100 seconds, the aggro would disappear. At this time, when Xiao Min appeared, she would become the target of focus fire. However, Xiao Min was immune to physical attacks. Lu Chen was able to reach the 20th floor of the Celestial Slayer Tower by relying on this rascal combination. Leisurely leaning against the corner, Lu Chen glanced at Xiao Min. Countless numbers of immune floated above her head. He felt relieved and continued to wait for the time to pass. Now, there was nothing to watch in the live stream. The top 10 were all streaming his tower. He did not know how a group of people could stare at a single number for more than an hour. Don't this group of people want to level up? Lu Chen shook his head. Li Chuning had earned a lot this time. She looked back at Lin Sun with a smile. Hey, Guru, let's analyze it. Lin Sun took a deep breath and was speechless for a long time. I analyze my ass. If only I could analyze it. Oh my god, the 20th floor. We are still on the 9th floor, but Nameless has already reached the 20th floor. I suddenly sympathize with Brother Qingtao. A first-rate team in the country is really suppressed by Nameless alone. They can't raise their heads for the rest of their lives. Li Chuning did not think so. She supported her chin with both hands, and there was something else in her eyes. She looked gently at the back of the figure. Nameless. She thought carefully. This is the only name you admit to. It means that in your heart, you don't want to be remembered. But, who doesn't know you? Why do you hide your ID? What level are you? Have you been leveling alone all this time? Do you feel bored? Why can't anyone find out about you? Who are you? Her curiosity towards this person had never been as strong as it was now. Chapter 136. They had spent enough time in the Celestial Mountain today. Lu Qin came out after clearing the 7th floor of the demon-subduing tower. With this result, they should be able to survive for a while. After exiting the demon-subduing tower, Lu Qin transferred the right to receive the rewards from the Celestial Slaying Tower to the Red High Heels. To Lu Qin, 2,000 points of pure spiritual energy per day was nothing. However, to them, this was a huge sum of money. It was also beneficial for the development of the team. The Red High Heels received a system notification. She hurried to Nameless. Leader, what are you? Lu Qin smiled. You'll be in charge of distributing the soul-gathering pills in the future. The managers of Frenzied Waves ran over. Leader, this is your guild. We never thought, Nameless smiled. I'm not a good leader. Although I founded Frenzied Waves, you guys have contributed much more than me. I've already taken the Spirit Source shards. That's enough. You guys can use these for yourselves. By the way, in this Jotian game, in the middle and later stages. Oh, no, from level 25 onwards, the effects of spiritual energy will be highlighted. Don't just focus on leveling up. Pay attention to the cultivation of spiritual energy. This was the first time Nameless had given guidance about the game. With the strength that Nameless had shown, his words were enough to make anyone take it seriously. Alright, I have other things to do. Nameless was about to leave when he suddenly remembered something. Oh, right. I almost forgot. A system notification appeared in front of Leng Nuo. Anonymous player has requested to add you as a friend. Leng Nuo was stunned. Leader added me as a friend? Add me as a friend first. Nameless said calmly. I've already donated 10 gold coins to the guild storage. There's a 10-mile voice transmission talisman in the grocery store. You can buy one and keep it with you. If you don't get out of the server, or if anyone bullies you in the future, just send me a voice transmission. Leng Nuo stared blankly at Nameless. She was indescribably touched. Leader didn't completely ignore Frenzied Waves. Alright, I'm leaving. Nameless finished dealing with the matters of the Celestial Mountain and turned around. In front of him, a large number of players stood there, watching his every move. Nameless shook his head and walked out of the main city. Sioux City, the headquarters of Fate Guild. The team manager, team leader, and all the team leaders were watching the live stream. Nameless' appearance had alarmed the entire society. His every move could not be ignored. After all, Nameless' strength could very well represent the ceiling of Jotian. Everyone hurriedly recorded an important piece of information. Nameless, didn't you just say that after level 25, the effect of spiritual force will be prominent? Well, Jotian is an online game with a Xianxia background after all. Most of the Xianxia novels on the market are just in the guise of Xianxia, doing the same old leveling up routine. But with Tianheng style, they pursue the extreme in everything. It's very likely that Jotian will be closer to the setting of the real Xianxia world. That's right. If it's true cultivation, then physical strength is only the foundation. At the higher levels, spiritual energy is the key to determining one's strength. Damn, no wonder the cultivation of spiritual energy is different from the other three dimensions. Strength, agility, and physique will increase as long as you level up, but spiritual energy is the most special. The drop rate from monsters is very low, so you have to cultivate it yourself. So it's the key. Wait, did you guys notice a problem? Why does Nameless know so much about the later stages? This person's unintentional words caused the heated discussion to fall into silence. Why is he so clear about the future? The only answer is, he has already passed that stage. Could it be that Nameless is already level 25? The EXP requirement for level 20 is already an astronomical figure. How can his level be so high? I think the scariest thing is that his level might be higher than level 25. Lu Chen left the Celestial Mountain and found a secluded place to return to Ren Ai Peak. This time, he spent a few hours on the Celestial Mountain and felt that it was a waste. The record of the Tiger King's cave had been broken, but Lu Chen was too lazy to update the record. The key was that the price of the materials in the Tiger King's cave had dropped drastically and could not be sold for much. From the internet, he found that the underground mine would drop 3 pieces of blue equipment, including a very good level 20 blue weapon. Now that the big guilds were actively farming the underground mine instance dungeon, Lu Chen weighed the pros and cons. The attributes of the blue weapon, Lost Longsword, were not as good as Tiger Sob, and Tiger Sob's special effect was a perfect combination with Great Ravager Sweep. Lu Chen could not change it. The other 2 pieces of blue equipment were not that strong. The level difference is too big. If I were to farm, the EXP would be almost negligible. The key is to see if there are any hidden bosses. Lu Chen thought about it and decided to farm again. Thinking of this, Lu Chen set off from Ren Ai Peak and headed to the underground mine. When he passed by the foot of Ren Ai Peak, Lu Chen checked the materials collected by Ba Wang and the others. They were almost there. I should be able to build my instance dungeon this afternoon. I'm actually looking forward to it. Level 20 instance dungeon, underground mine. There were many guild players gathered here. This was currently the gold leveling spot for high-level players. There were not many high-level players in the Celestial Mountain main city, so this was the place with the most players. In front of the underground mine, most of the players were in groups within the guild. There were also many people who were looking for teammates because there were fewer people. The guilds and the solo players were divided into 2 large areas. In the solo players area, there were endless shouts. Are there any pharmacists? We're missing a 2-star pharmacist. The equipment will be distributed according to class. Someone with DPS would be best. An explosives expert would be best. A sword spirit cultivator would also be fine. At least someone with a dark iron sword. An experienced spiritualist or puppeteer who knows how to pull aggro. Damn, that colored pen just pulled aggro and wiped twice. How did it get to such a high level? On the other side of the guild area, many guilds were researching how to challenge the instance dungeon. The current record is 24 minutes 38 seconds. It's almost the limit. Wouldn't it be faster to use pugilists instead of monks? Pugilists have higher movement speed. No, there can only be 1 tank in the team. Otherwise, the damage won't be enough. Monk's Golden Light Protection has better defense than Pugilist's Golden Cauldron Imperial Bell. They won't die so easily. Lu Chen didn't want to cause any commotion. Since these people were busy, he took advantage of the chaos to walk to the Tiger King's cave and entered the instance dungeon. Once he entered the instance dungeon, Lu Chen looked around and didn't see a single monster. The monsters here are mine zombies. Don't tell me they also crawled out from the ground. Although the underground mine was a level 20 instance dungeon, it was smaller than the Tiger King's cave. There was only 1 path in the mine, leading to the middle area. A large number of mine zombies would spawn there. Hence, the underground mine was also called Zombie Cave by the players. Lu Chen didn't care too much and ran toward the central mine. Behind him, a group of rotting zombies crawled out from the ground and chased after him. When he reached the central mine, Lu Chen ran around the area. A large number of zombies crawled out from the ground. 2 of them were huge and terrifying creatures that were about 4 to 5 meters tall. They let out hoarse sounds and pounced toward Lu Chen with the zombies. Lu Chen shook his head. The boss is only 2. As expected, there's no point. Let's get rid of him. Let's have a few hidden bosses. Chapter 137. Great Ravager Sweep. Lu Chen waved out several sword chi, and the surrounding zombies couldn't last more than 5 rounds under a series of spiritual power damage, and fell to the ground one after another. Killed zombie worker, level 22 elite, captured 120 spiritual energy. Looking at the meager reward, Lu Chen could only shake his head helplessly. Damn it, I'll only do it once. If I get equipment, I'll never come here again. Even the 2 zombie kings only gave him a little more than 1,000 experience points. Zhou control of low-level rewards was simply outrageous. Ding! Your party has cleared the underground mine, level 20, instance dungeon in 2 minutes and 18 seconds. Congratulations, your party has set a new record. Your record will be displayed on the instance dungeon clear leaderboard. Lu Chen had always activated the party mode for this kind of instance dungeon. It was just that he was the only one in the party. However, the system still thought that Lu Chen had cleared the instance dungeon in the form of a party. Your instance dungeon clear time is within 6 minutes. Your party's frenzied killing has angered a sleeping creature. If you choose to continue the challenge, your instance dungeon clear time will continue to be extended. If you leave the instance dungeon, your instance dungeon clear time will be your party's final instance dungeon clear time. Damn it, there really is a hidden boss. Lu Chen was overjoyed. Speaking of which, we actually have to enter for 6 minutes to activate this boss. This requirement is a bit high. If I didn't have Great Ravager Sweep, it would probably be difficult to complete. The current record in the outside world was more than 24 minutes and a half. According to their instance dungeon clear speed, they probably wouldn't be able to reach this hidden boss. The requirements are so harsh. Alright, I hope you won't disappoint me. It would be best if you could drop something useful. Lu Chen's answer was without any hesitation. Continue the challenge. Abyss Zombie King is on its way. Preparation time 0:04:59, with 5 minutes of preparation time, Lu Chen waited in the cave obediently. The zombie corpses on the ground looked disgusting. All of them were missing limbs and their bodies were rotten. It was even more realistic than in the movies. I killed them too quickly just now. I didn't seem to see their attack methods. Forget it, why would I want to know their attack methods? These things are so ugly. Anyway, I won't merge with their bloodline no matter what. Lu Chen firmly believed that there was no doubt about this. By the way, Xiao Min said that the souls of the dead creatures in the dungeon would be stored. Why can't I feel it? With nothing to do, Lu Chen began to look at the structure of the instance dungeon. His instance dungeon materials were about to be collected. He wondered what his future instance dungeon would look like. Not long after, the underground of the central mine suddenly shook. Lu Chen could clearly feel that the entire dungeon was shaking. They're finally here. Lu Chen drew Tiger Sob and prepared to face the enemy. However, 5 minutes had passed, but that abyss zombie still hadn't appeared. What the hell? Where is he? As soon as his voice fell, Lu Chen suddenly felt that the ground beneath his feet was empty, and the ground beneath his feet suddenly collapsed. Then, a huge arm shot out from the ground and grabbed his ankle. Fuck. This guy is down there. Lu Chen's ankle was grabbed. Although he wasn't injured, he couldn't move. He could only watch as the ground around him collapsed. Then, a monster that was 8 to 9 meters tall crawled out from the ground. This guy was completely black. It was in human form and only wore a pair of tattered pants. The flesh on its body didn't rot. Instead, it was abnormally strong and muscular. Its face was ferocious. Its facial features were dislocated. A mouth full of sharp teeth took up half of its face. Its eyes were bloodshot and protruding. Fuck, this monster is so ugly. When he saw its level, Lu Chen was stunned. Level 30 Abyss Zombie King, Diamond Grade Hidden Boss. Lu Chen definitely didn't expect that a level 30 hidden boss would live in a level 20 instance dungeon. This level was actually 2 levels higher than his. Fuck, no wonder the activation conditions are so harsh. It's actually a level 30 big boss. What an unexpected surprise. At this time, Lu Chen was being controlled by the other party. There was an abnormal status, partial bind, on his body, and there was no indication of the duration of the bind. If he was caught by the other party, it would be very dangerous no matter how much HP he had. Lu Chen hurriedly used Tiger Sob to attack the other party's wrist. Fuck, let go of me. Suddenly, the Abyss Zombie activated its skill and threw Lu Chen out, smashing him against the cave wall. -4000, Special Attack, Throwing Collision, -617, External Bleeding. Lu Chen's partial bind was removed, but there were suddenly 3 more abnormal statuses. Panic, Physical Defense reduced by 20%, all meridians blocked, unable to use skills. Movement speed reduced by 40%. Duration, 10 seconds. External Bleeding, loses 3% HP every second. Duration, 10 seconds. Fuck, it's so strong. This guy was a level 30 diamond grade boss. If he didn't include Cenobus, the storyline boss, this guy's strength was definitely the most terrifying guy Lu Chen had encountered so far. Moreover, its attack was almost unavoidable. It directly jumped out from the ground, grabbed him, and gave him a good beating. It also gave him 3 debuffs while it was at it. Panic might be the defense reduction from the aura, similar to 8-Head and the others. However, the blocked meridians and external bleeding seemed to be caused by the overdraft collision just now. Lu Chen was now level 28, and his HP was 20568. The more HP he had, the more HP he would lose. There was also the throwing collision, which seemed to be a fixed damage, and he lost 4000 HP. Lu Chen had so much HP, but one hit took out 4 of his HP. Fuck, that's a bit strong. If other teams had come to attack him, the tank might have been killed in an instant. Roar. The Abyss Zombie ran toward Lu Chen. This guy was so big that it could cover a few meters in one step. Fuck, you really think I'm afraid of you? Come on. Lu Chen stopped running. The main reason was that even if he ran, he might not be able to outrun others. The blocked meridians in his body made his movement speed even slower than normal people. Although he couldn't use skills, Lu Chen could still use normal attacks. Lu Chen took advantage of the opportunity and quickly swung his sword 3 times. -407, -617, poisoned, -617, poisoned, -2216, triple critical, -617, poisoned, -1450, double critical, -617, poisoned, -617, poisoned, -1417, double critical, -617, -617. Great Ravager's sweep was not Lu Chen's strongest attack. Perhaps the total damage was high, but in terms of burst, his physical attack was still more terrifying. This was still without activating Fierce Tiger Descends the Mountain, and he had already dealt 7,775 damage. However, Lu Chen was still very surprised by this damage. Fuck, my physical attack is over 1,000, and I can only deal 400 damage without a critical hit. This guy's defense is so high. And his HP is also high, more than 60,000 HP. Tough and meaty. It even has crowd control. After being attacked by Lu Chen, the abyss zombie suddenly burrowed into the ground and disappeared. Fuck, what's the meaning of this? Don't tell me it ran away. Lu Chen thought for a moment. The boss probably wouldn't run away. It was very likely that it was going to repeat its old trick. He had only lost less than 8,000 HP after one wave of attacks from the boss. If he had to fight 8 waves, the abyss zombie's attacks would directly take away a quarter of his HP. If this continued, it seemed like he wouldn't be able to beat it. This won't be easy. Don't tell me I'm going to die in a level 20 dungeon. Lu Chen's mind raced. How do I do this? How do I do this? Chapter 138. Outside the underground mine instance dungeon, there was a sudden violent tremor. All the players gathered there were shocked. What's going on? Did you receive a system message? In the national server, the underground mine instance dungeon is temporarily suspended. A team of players is challenging the hidden boss, Abyss Zombie. The system will decide whether to open the second floor of the underground mine instance dungeon based on the result of this challenge. The group of people looked at each other when they saw the system message. This dungeon really has a hidden boss. Someone actually activated it. Who is it? How long did they take? How many minutes did it take to activate the hidden boss? There's a second floor of the underground mine instance dungeon. It can't be. We've done it more than 10 times and we haven't seen any other exits. The earthquake just now was only in our server. That means that the team that challenged the dungeon is from our server. Who is it? Among the many teams that were challenging the dungeon, the 5 members of a Dragonhawk team were very depressed. One of them was Lu Chen's younger sister, Lu Yi. Who is it? If he wants to challenge, then so be it. Why is the dungeon paused? I still need to hurry up and level up. During this period of time, Lu Yi and her teammates had been frantically leveling up. They really did not pay attention to the outside world. After working hard for so long, their small team, which did not have any support, had finally slowly become one of the top teams in the reserve team. It was very likely that they would obtain the qualifications to enter the main team in the guild's internal tournament tomorrow. But at this critical moment, the most important method for them to level up and get equipment, the underground mine instance dungeon, was closed. Don't worry. Lu Yi's friend, Little Mei, comforted her. If the underground mine instance dungeon in the national server is temporarily suspended, then it's actually fair. Everyone can't level up and get equipment. Moreover, if we can open the second floor, we might be able to get new equipment. Lu Yi nodded. Alright, now they could only wait for that guy to finish his challenge. We can only wait. But I'm a little curious. I know all the top teams in our server. Who is it that activated the hidden boss? Another member of the team, Dragon Ascending Jianghu, said. Actually, it's not hard to guess. I heard that there's someone from the foreign server who didn't activate the hidden boss even after 10 minutes. That means that there's only one person who can activate the boss. Who is it? You two are always leveling up and not paying attention to the big events in the game. Who else could it be? Of course it's nameless. When the challenge ends, I might be able to see him. This boss was very cunning, and its skill cooldown was also surprisingly fast. It did not give Lu Chen any chance to deal damage. Lu Chen was still bleeding from his external wounds. If he was scratched again, half of his health would be gone. I can't let it catch me. At least Lu Chen was clear on this point. He started to move as fast as he could. The ground beneath Lu Chen's feet was rapidly collapsing. Something underground was chasing after him. No, my movement speed is too slow. I'll be caught. Xiao Min, turn invisible. Lu Chen ran, and suddenly disappeared from where he was. Lu Chen didn't know if this method would work, so he could only take a gamble. Hiding in the corner, Lu Chen concentrated on the ground. As soon as there was any movement, he would quickly retreat. However, the thing underground did not seem to be chasing after him. At the same time, Lu Chen's blocked meridians and external bleeding statuses disappeared. Let's see if I can force this guy out. Lu Chen secretly gathered strength and swept Great Ravager. After a while, he released several sword auras into the field. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. 7 to 8 thick sword auras filled the entire central mining area. However, the sword auras did not force the Abyss Zombie out. Instead, Lu Chen was locked onto by the Abyss Zombie after he revealed himself. Damn it, I really can't attack him when he's hiding underground. This time, Xiao Min's invisibility was still on cooldown. Lu Chen only ran a few steps before the thing underground got close to him. Next, that guy would definitely reach out and grab Lu Chen's ankle. Without any movement skills, Lu Chen could not escape at all. Try this. Change skin, headless flying corpse. The headless flying corpse's appearance had two major characteristics. First, it was headless. To be precise, its head was not on the body. Second, it was flying corpse. Its body was slightly suspended in midair. Very quickly, Lu Chen transformed into a headless flying corpse. This transformation directly caused the Abyss Zombie's attack judgment to change. For example, if a flying unit attacked it, its skill would naturally be ineffective against it. As Lu Chen's feet did not touch the ground, the Abyss Zombie determined that he was not a land creature and directly came out of the ground. It came out on its own. Lu Chen said in surprise. He did not expect that the trick he came up with at the last minute would actually work. As long as he could break the opponent's trick, he would not be afraid of it even if he faced it head-on. Damn it, hiding in the ground sneakily and still recovering HP. In a short while, the Abyss Zombie recovered 2000 HP, which was much faster than normal HP recovery. One could imagine how terrifying the healer's healing would be if other teams were to defeat this boss. 5000 HP after breaking out of the ground, it would do it again in such a short time. Fortunately, Lu Chen was no longer afraid of this guy. The Abyss Zombie's move was called Moving Tombstone. Without this move, Lu Chen's meridians wouldn't be blocked and he wouldn't be bleeding from external injuries. Both sides immediately engaged in hand-to-hand combat. You damn zombie, let's see if you can still die. Lu Chen's sword dealt 6,000 to 7,000 damage, while the opponent's slap only dealt less than 600 damage to Lu Chen. The Zombie King finally had a weakness. Its attack was not too high. During the fight, Lu Chen also touched the Zombie King's attack. Panic was the Zombie King's aura. This was not wrong. External bleeding was indeed caused by throwing collision. However, meridians blocked was not caused by throwing collision. It was more like there was a certain chance of this debuff after being attacked. Therefore, the Zombie King's attack could be understood as a normal attack that had a certain chance of blocking the opponent's meridians. A bit strong. It can reduce speed and silence. Lu Chen coldly snorted, unfortunately, you will still die after encountering me. Fierce Tiger descends the mountain. With a combo of 9 hits, Lu Chen dealt 9,000 plus damage and finally killed the Abyss Zombie King. Killed Abyss Zombie King, level 30 diamond level hidden boss. Obtained 19,000 aura. Obtained 2 rank 6 talent fragments. Obtained 2 evolution points. Ding! Obtained Zombie King Mask, level 30 purple equipment, soul subduing talisman, level 30 purple equipment, sturdy mining uniform, level 20 blue equipment, zombie king powder, purple material, dungeon recruitment order, special item, underground mine second floor key, opens the second floor of the underground mine. Lu Chen blinked his eyes. This guy dropped a lot of things. However, he was not in a hurry to look at the purple equipment. Instead, he looked at another item. In Jiutian, there was a hidden setting. When a player had a special ability, the corresponding item would be dropped. For example, Lu Chen had the ability to evolve. Therefore, when he fought monsters, he would drop evolution materials, but others would not. Naturally, there were also items that could be obtained by all classes. For example, the ghost pet Xiaomin Lu Chen was not a spirit exorcist, but he could use it. There was also the ancient blood and ancient fragment. Lu Chen needed them for evolution, but other players could use them as well. Therefore, they would appear in the quest rewards in the Stone Gate world. According to this setting, there was an item that immediately attracted Lu Chen's interest. Dungeon recruitment order. Let's see. Chapter 139. Obtain the right to recruit the Abyss Zombie King in the Instance Dungeon. The item really said so. It's really for the Instance Dungeon. Then I can treat this guy as the Instance Dungeon boss. Thinking of this, Lu Chen was in a hurry to return to Benevolence Peak and complete the Instance Dungeon. There are still a few pieces of equipment, let's see what they are like. Zombie King Mask, level 30 purple equipment, physical defense, 36, spiritual defense, 14, strength 81, agility 94, physique 100, special effect, spirit gathering meridian seal. Normal attacks have a 10% chance of sealing the opponent's meridian circulation, causing the meridian blockage effect. After this effect, the opponent will not be able to use skills for 5 seconds and their movement speed will be reduced by 15%. Stackable, damn, these are the attributes of a level 30 purple equipment. That's too strong, my physique has soared to 3 digits. So the meridian blockage just now was a special effect of the equipment. Lu Chen finally understood. Speaking of which, if that guy uses it, it's definitely not just a chance. The speed reduction effect and the duration are even stronger. It's the same equipment that dropped, alright. The effect might be different if the boss used it or if he used it. Although the attributes aren't as good as the boss, this special effect is still very strong. Once hit, it will be silenced and speed reduced. It's simply a nightmare for those fragile professions. Fragile professions? Lu Chen thought for a while. It seemed that all professions were fragile professions in his eyes now. Lu Chen was still very satisfied with this level 30 purple equipment. The only downside was that, he couldn't equip it now. The attributes are pretty good. I'm only a little over level 28 now. It won't take long for me to reach level 30. I'll be able to use it then. The soul subduing talisman was actually a low yellow level skill for talisman masters. Seeing that he couldn't use it, Lu Chen threw it into his backpack and sold it at the trading area in the future. Level 20 blue equipment. The sturdy miner's uniform had higher attributes than the Shadow Tempest, but Lu Chen preferred the 2 special effects of the Shadow Tempest and didn't plan to change it. The Zombie King powder was a material that could be used to refine monsters, carve talismans, etc. He threw it into his backpack. The last one was the second level key. Click to use, activate the second level of the underground mines, level 25, level 25. That's too low. I'm not going to fight today. I'm going back to do my dungeon. After tapping the key, Lu Chen immediately exited the instance dungeon. All the players in the server received a push notification from the system at the same time. The Abyssal Corpse King guarding the underground mine, level 20, has been killed. The Abyssal Mine, level 25, has officially opened. In Area 122, the players who were surrounding the underground mine were waiting for the dungeon to reopen. When they received the message, they immediately started discussing. Damn, Nameless is really strong. He soloed the underground mine and even killed the hidden boss. Is there a dungeon that he can't clear? Can we go to the Abyss Mines? Of course not. It's a level 25 instance dungeon. Who can do it now? This mine is actually so deep. There can't be another 3 or 4 levels, right? Then where does it lead to? Lu Yi also saw this message at this time. She suddenly had an indescribable feeling. We've fought so hard for so long, yet that Nameless cleared it so easily. He even defeated the hidden boss. What kind of stats does he have? Little May smiled and said, "You think you're the only one who knows? Everyone wants to know." Right, he's coming out soon. Just in time to see this legendary war god of Wuxia. Little May pulled Lu Yi and rushed to the entrance of the cave with the crowd. The crowd had already surrounded the entrance of the cave. A white light flashed and everyone stared at the light circle at the entrance of the dungeon. However, after the white light passed, there was no one inside. Where is he? Why, didn't anything appear? Where's Bro Nameless? What's going on? Is there a bug? Did he get any new equipment? Lu Chen was standing in the center of the light circle. Unfortunately, the others could not see him. Because he was invisible. He already knew that a group of people was blocking him at the entrance. It was better to avoid so many people if he wanted to return to the territory as soon as possible. Just as Lu Chen was about to leave, he saw the silly girl in the crowd. She was stretching her neck and looking at the light circle with a puzzled expression. Lu Chen stopped and sneaked in front of Lu Yi. Huh, you can't see me, right? This girl's equipment was pretty good now. The dark gold sword was probably the best weapon outside of the core of the team. She had 2 pieces of Tiger King equipment and a mining uniform. The mining uniform had high attributes and a special effect that increased strength for a period of time. For normal players, it was more useful than Windstorm and Night Demon. It could help them clear dungeons, so many people would choose this blue equipment. What's this silly girl's level? Lu Chen could not see her level. After thinking about it, he lowered the ratio of strength to the lowest and secretly hit her. Seeing her health drop, he could see her upper health. This way, he could deduce her level. Who knew that the sneaky hit would have serious consequences? -14, -617, poisoned, -617, poisoned, -88, triple critical hit, -617, poisoned, -617, poisoned. In a moment of carelessness, Lu Chen dealt 2,500 damage to Lu Yi. Fuck. It was a triple critical hit. Her health dropped by half. Lu Yi's HP was dropping rapidly. Aya, who hit me? The silly girl did not know that she was poisoned by the 7-step poison. She was still looking around to see who was attacking her. Lu Chen's damage was the initial damage. There was more to come. -617, poisoned, -678, poisoned, -617, poisoned, -740, poisoned. Lu Chen was on the verge of collapsing when he saw his HP drop. Fuck, don't drop any more. Don't drop any more. He wanted to tell the silly girl to stop moving. Every time she moved, her damage would increase by 10%. Actually, even without that 10%, Lu Yi could not take it. 3 seconds later, Lu Yi died. Fuck. No. Lu Yi. Sister. Lu Chen was so scared that his face was distorted. He almost caught up with the Abyss Zombie King. He killed Lu Yi. If Lu Yi knew about this, he would be dead for sure. Little May quickly picked up the equipment that Lu Yi dropped. What happened? Why did she suddenly die? Who is it? Who is attacking? Lu Chen looked at the angry members of Lu Yi's team in horror. He could not stay here any longer. He had to run. After running to a place where there was no one, Lu Chen's stealth time was up. Letting out a long sigh of relief, Lu Chen shivered in fear. I can't let that girl know about this. Otherwise, she will kill me. My dear sister, I really didn't mean it. Fortunately, the equipment was picked up by your friend. Otherwise, I would be dead for sure. Letting out a long sigh, Lu Chen returned to the city and returned to Ren AI Peak. The dungeon materials were ready. It was time to build his dungeon. Build the dungeon. Position. Block the entrance of Ren AI Peak. Under Ren AI Peak, a large number of building materials were quickly assembled. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes and waited patiently. I have to do a good job with my warehouse and synthesis base. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.